Hello and welcome to the combined episode of Strike Force Damage Control and Power Chord Podcast. I am your host, Dorian, and joining me tonight are Chewburger84 and Hebrew Hammer. Hey guys, how y'all doing?
Doing pretty good, buddy.
Good, buddy.
Good. Glad to hear it. So, as some of you may or may not know, actually, Hebrew, why don't you take this and tell everybody kind of why you're here tonight?
All right, so as I'm sure a lot of you guys already know, Irish did unfortunately leave the show. Although he does still like the game, it became a little too much for him in the competitive atmosphere that we were playing it at. So he did go ahead and take his leave. This was his first venture into mobile gaming, or at least hardcore mobile gaming. And he's more of a console guy, so it was just, a little too much for him. But he's still playing the game a little bit. He's a little annoyed at a few things, like the Nick Fury team. That's what ultimately made him quit a match with Nick Fury. But so Power Core Podcast is going to be combining forces, basically, with Strike Force Damage Control and, of course, Chewburger84. But that's basically the big news. We are going to be rebranding everything, so it's not going to be specific to either one of our podcasts or former podcasts. But yeah, that's pretty much the meat and potatoes of it. We're going to be changing up everything to do with the format for the most part. We're going to be keeping some things from my show, keeping some things from Strike Force, and yeah, that's pretty much all I can think of right now, at least. So.
One thing I want to throw out there, if you don't listen to the Power Core Podcast, do yourselves a favor and at least listen to the episode right before this one, because it has probably the most epic tribute. It's beautifully done. I'm descended from Scots, so I always love a good bagpipe, but I just got to say, you've got to listen to that. It is absolutely amazing. So, Chewy, before I kind of speak on this, would you mind letting everybody know kind of why you're here? Or what your plans are?
Yeah, so no, thanks for that. So, first of all, I'm from Masters of Launch podcast. So myself and Big Roy, we do our thing over there. We have no intention of shutting that down at this stage. However, I very, very, very much love this game. I also very much enjoy talking to Dorian and Hebrew off air. We very regularly do that. And we think we can, with the three of us, really bring something together for this new format. So for now, I'm absolutely doing 2 podcasts a week. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what we can do with this one. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. I know I'm looking forward to it. So when I heard that Irish had finally quit, Hebrew and I actually kind of messaged each other about the same time and was like, so what do you think about this? And we talked for most of Wednesday about it, and we actually jumped in, and Chewy and I were going to help Hebrew do the Power Core Podcast on Wednesday, and we wound up talking about the merger and bringing Chewy in for so late that it was like, midnight, 12:30 before we were finally done.
Yeah,
and and we were like, well, we're not doing a show now, so why don't you just come on the show Friday and we'll combine them and kind of call it the bon voyage for both our episodes. And so that's or both our shows, and that's kind of where we're going to be going forward. This is the last official episode of the Strike Force Damage Control podcast. We did let our patrons know Wednesday that this was going to happen and got their feedback first. And to a man, I think they're all on board with this. And I can't say how awesome that makes me feel, because you guys are you're the drive behind this show. Without you, I don't know if there would be a show, because you keep the lights on. Speaking of which, I wanted to say welcome to Fat Honey Badger. You all may remember him from an episode he guest hosted a few weeks back with me. He joined our patrons just today, and he was unaware of the merger at the time, and I informed him 15 minutes before the show that it was going to happen. So he's like, well, I guess Hebrew can have some of the money too. And so we really appreciate that, Honey Badger. That's awesome. You're a heck of a guy. And I just want to say thank you very much to all our patrons for your continued support. And if you would like to support us, we are available at patreon.com/SFDC podcast. That will be changing in the future when we decide on a new name. We have not decided on one yet, and we will be doing a whole new branding. However, for current patrons, you do not need to do anything. All the changes will happen on the back end. It's just going to be a new link. And it'll be a new name, new header, new banner, new stuff. Everything that's currently there will still be there, and it's just going to have a new URL, which we will give to you as soon as we have that. Chewy, Hebrew, anything that you guys want to add to that?
I just want to add a few things. First of all, I just want to echo that thank you to Fat Honey Badger. I know that he's watched the show as well, or the Power Core podcast show as well, and he's been a dedicated listener, so I really appreciate it to not only you, but all of the patrons. On top of that, I just want to go ahead and say for the name, we are trying to get that done before the upcoming episode. Not this episode, obviously, but the next one. Hopefully, we will be able to be on point with that, but that's our goal. So we'll have everything kind of organized officially by then.
And also... And sorry, I apologize for interrupting you there, but I did want to let you guys know that we have decided that we are going to keep this time slot and this release schedule. We haven't talked about because Hebrew has a Mac, so I may try to convince him to do some Twitch live streams with the three of us. We'll have to see how that goes. You guys can kind of hit him up for that one and encourage him. My PC can't handle it because I'm on a Surface laptop, but he's got that nice Mac that he can try to do that with. So we may explore that again at some point. For those of you that may have been here for the rather failed attempts at Twitch that Muggin and I did, who knows what can happen. So we'll see what happens with that. So sorry, Hebrew, I didn't mean to kind of step on your toes there.
No, you're good. Also, just my last little thing I was going to mention, previous episodes of both of our shows will still be available. We haven't quite figured out how they're going to be organized yet, but we will still make them all available. So don't worry about that. If you guys liked a particular episode or just want to go back through at some point in the future, they will be. You will be able to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. And for anybody that is subscribed to the Strikeforce Damage Control RSS feed, you will not need to do anything. I am going to take care of all the redirecting to the new feed, so you don't have to worry about unsubscribing, resubscribing. However, if you're subscribed to both the Power Core and the Strikeforce Damage Control podcast, it will be a redundant feed for you, so you can pick one to unsubscribe from, because both will be the same feed going forward.
Right.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I'm so angry right now.
What happened?
Sorry, while you guys were talking, I had a couple of premium warps from a couple of days ago. Second one I opened, Loki. Come on.
Oh,
no way.
Dude, it's in Discord.
80 shards.
Ew.
I was on the show notes. I didn't even see that.
Yeah, I keep them side by side. Congratulations, man. I'm calling fake news.
Well,
all right. I'll level them up right now.
That's fine. You can open it up. That just means you got two Photoshops ready.
You need to 1v1 me, bro.
Oh my god, dude.
And I was saving premiums, and I actually had two premiums that I opened after they made the Loki announcement, and I didn't.
Same.
I hit Spider-Man on one of them, so I guess that's kind of okay. But that's, man, this is what happens when you spend a lot of money in the game.
See, I was going to talk to you about this because I remember quite a few times you're like, yeah, but Schuberger, he spends money on the game. So, I mean, you got to listen, you got to bear that in mind. And then I remember you buying Storm and I'm like,
so technically my patrons bought Storm because I felt that, I was able to play with her before the show. I was providing them content. So they were getting so the cat's out of the bag on that one. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's a good way to validate it. That's fine.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I spent 4 months getting content ready for them. Then that's another way of putting it. I suppose.
I was going to move us into what did you do this past week, but I think that Chewy's kind of taken that, trumped anything I was going to say. What about you, Hebrew? What did you do this past week?
I know that for the next week I'm going to be crying out of jealousy for Chewburger, but
right?
I really just can't believe that, and I can't get over that. My luck in this game is pretty terrible, so that is just a slap in the face to me. As far as what I've been doing in game, I've been just going through trying to get Storm up. I've been trying to level up my mutants as much as possible because I'm a little worried about the mutant origin gear. I'm not sure how easily we'll be able to farm that gear coming up, so I'm not taking any chances, and I'm trying to get them up as quickly as possible, all my mutants. So that's where mostly all of my resources have been going into.
To clarify, do you mean all mutants? Are you actually putting gear into Wolverine as well, or are you going to give him a pass for now?
Oh, bro, he's been up there already.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
He was just a character that, like I said, he was just that guy. Even whenever I didn't know, it was first starting, I didn't, wasn't really metagaming anything at the time. I just had already kind of leveled him up a good bit because he was just that guy that was always the last one alive on my team. And, I recognize that he's definitely not the best, but he has his merits, and he's can be solid sometimes.
Yeah, I just dropped in the Discord channel my top 10, and you can take a look at my Wolverine.
Oh, hang on. Let me get a screenshot and a ruler, and let's do this. Let's start flexing.
And so it begins.
Yeah.
I apologize to all my listeners going forward. We are probably going to get an explicit tag before it's through. But
why? Why would you assume that?
Because we have the drunk Aussie with us.
Hey,
I mean, it's what, 6 8. Well, so you're only 2 beers in. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had my cornflakes yet. Yeah.
You put at least 3 in your cornflakes, right?
Just enough so they don't go too soggy. I mean, the last thing you want to do is to ruin a perfectly good beer with some soggy cornflakes. I mean,
that's very true. That Foster's. It Foster's.
Foster's.
It's Australian
British?
for me.
Oh God, your Australian accent is terrible too.
I know it is.
Yeah.
I've practiced more English accent than Australian. Because
that's coming through.
I'm descended from Scots, man. What can I say?
Oh, should we have in that case, given the Aussie link with Mel Gibson, should we do a Scottish off then?
No, I'm not prepared for it. I gotta for that. So
need to go away and watch about 3 hours worth of Braveheart.
Oh shit, that's good.
It's actually really good. No, I practice more.
That's the easiest to fall into because the more you drink, the more Scottish you become.
That's actually really good. I don't know. Wow, that's impressive.
That is pretty impressive. I probably would sound more like David Tennant doing Scrooge McDuck.
Oh, I love David Tennant so much.
He's awesome, isn't he? Okay, so what else did you do this week, Hebrew? Man, this may not be a good idea, guys. We're going to do 3-hour shows because we're going to get derailed so bad.
For me, that really has been pretty much it all week. I've been trying to farm up my mutants. I've been, getting Storm up. It was one of my biggest things, and trying to farm her. I want to get her to 4 stars. We'll see if that happens. And yeah, we just recently, in my alliance, we just recently started regularly getting 60% on Ultimus, the new Ultimus. So that's nice. Ironically, though, which seems to be the opposite problem from Chewburger, we keep getting to that 98% for Thanos. We're on the last node, basically. And for Thanos, and for some reason, there's 1 or 2 teams that we have that can't consistently clear it. So we're not 100%ing Thanos, but so we're trying to rearrange some stuff there.
Very nice. Chewy, so other than the brash Loki opening, can you give us an update on what you've been doing this week?
The same thing we do every week, Pinky. We put all resources into Nick Fury.
Leather panties chafe me so.
They do indeed. That's why you got to get the buttless ones, man. Anyway, no, to be honest, everything's going into Fury. I am 2 gear pieces away from being full T11 with that squad now. So I need to make some decisions in the next couple of days on whether or not I want to keep going with that super painful grind to T12 so they're ready for level 70. They're significantly lower STP than I thought they would be, just because I've got 2 of them are still, what are they? 4-star, which is Assault and Trooper, although they're getting pretty close to 5-star. So, yeah, I think I might take them to T12. I've just got a feeling that by the time I actually finish that project, Although I am thinking about taking a detour and doing exactly what Hebrew's doing and getting at least Deadpool, Cable, and Storm up to at least into the purple range of gear. Because I've got a feeling that the new green and blue gear for mutants is going to be, even if it's an easy farm, it's not going to be something that you've just passively built up over months with all the blue gear that we've got now, right?
Right.
So I think I might as well dump those resources, get them out of the blues. Although I won't spend ABCs on them for now. Maybe I'll actually touch my boy Logan. You guys know that he's probably one of my favorite, if not my actual favorite Marvel character of all time. But in this game, I just don't like where he's at. And I guess we'll talk a little bit about that later. So, yeah, at the moment, it's all Fury. I want to get them more ready for Arena. They're actually holding pretty well right now since I switched them to my defense, even at 122k STP. But, so I'm back in the 100 and holding, which is good. So at the moment, it's just all Fury. Achievements wise, as Hebrew said, we've been having a really good run at the moment with Thanos. We had 2 days there where we had people evacuating for hurricanes, which I believe you guys are having some fun with at the moment, right?
A little bit. So I'm in Tennessee, so we'll get the tail of it, but we won't have to worry too much about that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I mean, we've been going okay with Thanos. We're 100% in it all day except for 2. But yeah, we've still got a bit of a persistent problem in our alliance that because the Ultima 6 can be frustrating, especially on those bad RNG days, we got a lot of people that aren't necessarily, pulling their weight the way they should. So I expressed some concerns early in the week that because I'm pulling more than double than other people who have very similar teams to me, we wanted some clarity. So we're part of a 16 alliance cluster. Dorian, stop it. I don't want to hear what you're
not going to go there.
Cluster.
I'm in the same alliance cluster in a different game.
Yeah, I know. So we're actually having some right now. We're having every alliance basically submit their rosters, and we're actually thinking about forming a new super squad within Sigma. So the top guys from every alliance that are sort of carrying everything, we're thinking about actually merging them into one. So we don't know what's going to happen there. I hope, because I love our alliance. Every single guy that is in there pulls their weight, but we have some guys that obviously aren't wanting to necessarily go as hardcore as some others, and that's absolutely fine. We don't want to keep dragging them or pinging them saying, hey, 1 hour left, man, 1 hour left. We need that extra node. They shouldn't have to do that if they don't want to. So yeah, we're basically going to build sort of, I guess, I don't know, Sigma Avengers or whatever they're going to end up calling it. So yeah, I'm hoping I make it. We'll see.
Well, you won't be in a launch guild if you do that.
Well, yeah, I won't be able to say that anymore. That is definitely true. But I'll definitely try and keep my views grounded into not only all about it being me, which is very difficult to do for me.
We know.
Also about exactly.
And anybody that listens to your show knows.
Oh, for sure. The fact that I'm now doing 2 podcasts so I can listen to the sound of my own voice for 4 hours every week instead of just 2. Absolutely.
4. That's just going to be this show.
At this point, yeah. You're looking. We're looking at a little bit longer than normal.
Yeah. I mean, we're in the what did you do this past week was only the second item on the show note list.
I don't know why we have a list. Just wing it. That's what we're going to end up doing anyway.
It's a perk. It's a patron perk. So that's awesome, though. I wish you guys a lot of luck. I will say one thing: this game really is something that matches with swgoh.gg, so that you can pull people's rosters without having to have them send you screenshots.
Yeah.
Actually, I need to talk to the devs about that because I built a website for Galaxy of Heroes earlier this year that ran for a while to do TB, territory battle platoons, and rosters, and then Sith raid and all the other tank raid, and kind of tell you like with your guild what you can do and everything. It was, if you'd ever heard of it, it was in Enraged Alien. But I need to talk to the devs and see if we can get an API where we send through player IDs and get their information. That would be really cool.
Yeah, I agree with that. That would be much easier on alliances too for recruiting and looking up stats for everyone. So
yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to assume at this point that Schuberger is finished with his update, and I'm going to go ahead and give mine.
Mm-hmm.
So I unlocked Star-Lord, and have been working on gearing him up. And I got to tell you, that team wrecks. I've actually run. I don't run I don't run him with a tech team. I actually run him with a modified Guardians team. So I run Star-Lord, Rocket, Gamora, and Groot with Thanos. And that team is awesome. I heard so much crap about Groot, but in that Guardians team, he's amazing because Rocket's going off for that extra damage, and he protects Rocket with that death proof. It's beautiful. So I love that team. It's actually sitting in my arena team right now for defense. Of course, I did drop 400 response today, so I'm gonna have to thank that one. But that, yeah, well, I'm used to. I'm in that awkward 500 to 1,000 range, and so like there's a lot of 150s in my range because I'm on a beta shard. So
I know.
It's there's a lot of power fluctuation in there, and it some days I'll see 120, 99, 120. Other days I see 150, 160 power teams, and I'm just like, shoot me now.
Yeah, luckily I don't have to go up against that, thank God.
Yeah, I wish I didn't because I'm only a month in on beta, so
yeah, that kind of sucks for the people that got in towards the end of the beta because then you're looped in with them and.
Oh yeah, but honestly, the game at this point has been out for long enough that a concentrated, if arena was your focus, a concentrated player would be fine. I went more wide on my roster, so I can do the city node, I can do the global nodes. I provide that value because raids are my favorite game mode. So I wanted and Guardian team's really good in raids too.
Yeah,
because Groot heals, so that's always really nice. And with Rocket and Gamora doing all that damage, and Thanos just keeping them alive, it's amazing. So
yeah, I would say that. You go ahead. I was going to say
Groot healing. I don't know that he does
so
that
both
much.
You can't go ahead again.
Yeah, go ahead, Chuber. You go.
I was going to say saying that Groot heals, I think, is being very generous.
It's very generous. He does 1,500 plus. I want to say 15% of his max health.
Mate, there are other characters that do that as a 20% chance passive on turn, and that's his ultimate heal. Like, it's so pathetic. He's getting reworked though, so it's going to be fun.
He's getting a rework. However, let me just read this real quick.
Yeah.
Attack all enemies for 260% damage and gain counter. If Groot is ally, attack all enemies for 300% damage instead. And that's only at level 5. I haven't maxed that ability out yet.
So here's my counter argument: Spider-Man.
So hold on. Let me scroll down my character list to find Spider-Man. Oh, here he is, right next to Groot.
Oh, there you go.
He's 200 power less than Groot. Okay, but so Groot gives a chance to revive. If he dies, he gives death proof to Rocket. He's there really for the death proof. I don't care if he dies.
He's never gonna die. Like, no one's ever gonna target Groot. He's going to be the last one left on every.
I'm talking raids, right?
Even then, with how much health he has, you're pretty much never. He's going to still be the last one left alive.
Well, maybe, but I like that second ability because he gets that off. He gives death proof to the lowest health allies.
I do think, yeah.
So I look. I'm not saying he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm just saying that I see his value and he works really well in that team that I've got, and they survive really well.
Right, his merit. I would never run him without Rocket. I think,
absolutely not.
Yeah, that's the only time. That's the only redeeming quality to him is that synergy with Rocket because Rocket does become a damage monster. Whenever Groot is on there, so
he's running 22K crits.
Right,
everybody.
Yeah, so I would say I would never invest anything in Groot because he's terrible alone until his rework that they've mentioned, of course. We'll see what happens with that. But for the time being, unless you plan on putting him in a Guardians team or a modified Guardians team or something like that, then I probably wouldn't level him up unless you're planning on doing that.
And I absolutely 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
I would not run him by himself on a team for anything. He is only on that Guardians team. That's the only team I've ever used him in.
Yeah, I actually do like that team. Yeah, I actually do like the team that you have picked out just because there's so many good tech characters that we already have. You can make an incredibly good tech team at 5 and leave those 2 out. and still dominate on both fronts. So
yeah, and I've thought about that. So I've thought about bringing up Vision and Wasp because I love Wasp's utility, and I think Assassin actually mentioned this last week about how she's like that triple threat character because she hits everybody even through stealth. She stuns. She's got that charge with the dodge. I mean, she's such a great overall character that I love running her. But see, I've got her in another team that I'm using, which is Scarlet Witch, Vision, Ant-Man, Wasp, and Hand Sentry. And that team punches like 20, 30K above its weight class because the speeds on them work out so perfectly that first turn, I tell Scarlet Witch to use her basic, then Ant-Man does his slow, Wasp does her thing, Vision does his bleed, and then suddenly it's back to Wanda, and she's increasing the turns for all that stuff. I mean, I'm just dropping people left and right, and then the ability blocks are really nice. So
I agree.
So those are two teams that I run in Blitz. I've actually got like 3. I actually need to redo my Blitz teams now. And that Guardians team, believe it or not, handles 8.3, like with no problems.
Really?
So, yeah. Well, so it's Thanos and it's Rocket, right? So Thanos is taking all the damage. Groot is giving him death proof. So he's feeding all his energy to Rocket. Star-Lord's feeding all that energy to Rocket. Thanos is getting energy and power bombing, getting all his health back, and he still has death proof. So it actually works out really sweet.
Yeah, Star-Lord and Thanos on the same team with a rocket, basically just to feed off energy to him and another big hitter. Like, that's one of the meta moves right now, and it's really strong. And even Guardians team alone, like I've went up against some Guardians teams alone in my arena, and they're tough. They're not the most difficult, but they're definitely can be a problem to get through, especially if some RNG hits you poorly.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that Drax taunt, that Drax auto taunt can be a nightmare. So that was kind of my big thing of the week. I did 3-star the entire Storm event finally because I had all the way through 1-9, and then I had only 1-starred 1-8, and I went back and did 1-8 a couple of days ago. So I actually had that entire event 3-starred. So that's kind of a nice feeling. So I'm hoping to get her to at least mid 4-star before the end of the event. And then what else did I start? Oh, so I've been collecting Ant-Man and Mordo like mad. And so I got Ant-Man up to 5-star finally. I completely ignored the Wolverine Blitz. I don't even think I even bothered with the milestones.
Same.
And then I was like, man, whatever. I think I got like 26%, and I hit like milestone 8.
Well, I mean, you and I have the same opinion on Blitz, anyways. I think so.
Pretty much. Although
we're not going to get off the couch for Wolverine,
right? But I'm going kind of hard after this one because this does have half a mega orb for getting at least the top 10%.
Yeah, that was actually one of my things was that I was wondering how they were going to bring mega orbs back into the fold here now that they're away from the raids, the event raids. So I'm glad that they're making a reappearance because I actually really, really enjoy the mega orbs. And so
yeah, they are kind of nice when you get 100 Ronin. So
he'll have his day, my friend.
100 Scientist Supreme was me last time.
I'll take Scientist Supreme. I want Scientist Supreme unlocked because I think that there's
you don't have her unlocked.
No, I don't have her unlocked.
Oh,
she's a 100 shard unlock, man.
Yeah, I just picked her up just organically through drops like a while ago.
Same.
Yeah, no, I don't get her drops. I get a lot of
Lucky you.
What do I get? I get a lot of merc junk. Hold on, let me go down to the bottom of my roster. Oh, here, my aim monstrosity. Oh, Hydra Grenadiers at 224 of 80. I get him 224 of 80.
Damn. Actually, being that you playing for that long, Doran, have you got all the Pokemons? Like, have you got everyone now except Loki, or?
No, I do not have all the Pokemon. So I don't have Nobu, believe it or not. Because
really? That's understandable. That's just dumb luck, yeah.
Yeah, so even though I only had 1 month, right? So I focused on Black Widow. I don't have Nobu. I don't have Aim Assaulter. I don't have Scientist Supreme. And obviously I don't have Ultimus, Loki, or Nick Fury.
Right.
Yep.
So that pretty much, and like you've been working on gear, I did today buy 150 cores worth of 240 energy, so I'm sitting about 900 energy to play with, and I'm going to buy 3 more 50 refreshes tomorrow, which will tap me out on cores.
Yep.
Yeah, that's much smarter spending than keep refreshing that Mortar orb, though, mate. I'm glad you stopped doing the refreshes on that. The campaign energy is going to be
I did it once. Look, I did it once just to gear him up because I wanted to do Mystic 2-9. Okay. It helped me get the Doctor Strange farm.
Okay,
I did it twice.
In my mind, once is still far too many. That's now attached to you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Have I not told you guys that I'm highly impatient? Okay. I heard Irish quit, and I'm like, hey, Hebrew, let's do something.
I think, before he made his announcement, in our chat, whenever you messaged me, I didn't even realize he had done that yet. You were like, oh, by the way, I heard he quit. And I'm like, how'd you know that?
Yeah. I could just see that Dorian's got 6 different computer screens that all had different versions of a template proposing some sort of a merger. And then the second that notice went live, it was just send all macros, and then everything just fired through straight away.
Yeah. He didn't even tell me that he was doing that. I would have told him. I got onto him about that afterwards. I was like, bro, give me some time here.
Yeah, I guess he posted in your all's Discord, and then somebody in my alliance took a screenshot and posted in my alliance, and I'm like, oh hey, okay, cool, gotta go. You're not far from the truth there, Chewy. I do have quite a few monitors for my job. I'm a software engineer, so I'm working on one. I got Discord up on another. I really don't, boss. If you're listening, I don't have Discord open at work. I promise. All right, let's go ahead and I didn't even hear it. I don't care.
I didn't pick up either. I thought for sure the first one would be me, hands down.
I honestly thought it would be me,
and Curse would be me.
I was trying to be on my best behavior, so I don't even remember where I dropped it at this point.
No idea.
I believe he said Fox next.
He did.
Yeah, I think
that's the way I heard it.
That was it.
Yeah. Mallrats 2, Fucus.
Oh man, I love Kevin Smith movies. I grew up with them. I was a teenager when they came out. They were my jam. Jay and Silent Bob. I don't know that we need to reboot it though, but I'm still gonna watch it.
Clerks was absolutely amazing. I thought Mallrats was great. I could have Chasing Amy. All right. Could have completely done with it. I don't even think
it's just a good dramatic movie.
It is a good dramatic movie, and it's one of the first that I remember with Ben Affleck in it, outside of Good Will Hunting. But I don't think I think I kind of grown out of that juvenile stage, so I don't think I've ever seen Clerks 2.
Oh man, because you're a Lord of the Rings fan, yes?
Yes, absolutely.
You 100% need to watch that because Randall acts out the 3 movies in 5 minutes.
Really? I think I can find that on YouTube.
2 for that one. Yeah, absolutely. Just write Clerks 2 Lord of the Rings. And I promise you have a giggle at that, as juvenile as it is. But juvenile is my jam. It's where I live.
Right.
So I will go and watch it the day it comes out. If they do, Clerks 3 is dead. Oh, sorry, the new Clerks is dead. But Jay and Silent Bob is dead. Getting rebooted.
Yeah, I guess I'm okay with that. But Mallrats was awesome. So all right,
yeah.
Let's see how further we can go down rail.
I have no idea how the movie.
Oh, that's right. You're the baby of the group.
Yep. I didn't realize how much of a baby of the group I was until you guys start talking about that. And
I've never seen Clerks. I'm like,
I mean, I've heard of it,
man.
I've heard of it, and I'm sure I've had friends that have seen them. But yeah, I think it was just a little bit before me.
Yeah, look, for no other reason than Kevin Smith at his finest with Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah,
it's just, it's good stuff. So, all right, let's go ahead and transition now into some of the news of the week. So, Monday, the banhammer got dropped, like Thor coming out of the Bifrost Bridge in Infinity War, on a bunch of people in the game for apparently buying cores on the cheap. So I don't want to discuss how that works because it's illegal and immoral and unethical. Not only does it violate the game, but you're helping people steal money when you do that.
I don't think it's a bad idea to tell people how it works, just because it's something that they need to know to avoid.
Yeah, so basically what happens when you buy these third-party power cores, you need to stop, because what happens is people steal credit cards, and because it's not their money, they will take you give them your account and you pay them to steal money from somebody else to give you power cores. So when you do that, not only are you stealing from Fox Next, but you're stealing from the people whose credit card that was taken from. So if you do it, please stop. And if you don't stop, I hope they ban you. Sorry, I'm just gonna call it like I see it.
Well, there's one other level to that too, that by you giving them money and them having that money go out to buy things in the game, that is actually money laundering. And that is the theory that that's basically what this is happening, is that this is unfortunately a money laundering scheme. It's not just something that is limited to Fox Next and this game. This is something that I've been doing a lot of reading about. And apparently it is a very big problem with mobile games all around the place. So
it's not just mobile games. It's also consoles, because I play Neverwinter on the Xbox, and you'll see advertisements for, Astral Diamonds on the cheap. And it's the same money laundering, credit card thieving. I mean, it's all over the place.
Yeah, I play another mobile game called Naruto Blazing, and it runs rampant over there. And so that was my first experience with it. And they banned some people, but they didn't take as strong of a stance as they should have. So I was really surprised, and pleasantly surprised, I should say, with Fox Next's move to do this, because I wanted them to do permanent bans, and I'm really glad that they did, because this is incredibly unethical, and it is money laundering.
Yeah,
so that's a question I have. So you go, mate.
Yeah, well, I was going to say I am a little sad, because I did reach out to the community, not the community manager, but the creative director for Fox Next on Monday, and was like, so we're going to get some communication about this. I can't wait to see, something about the banning. And he goes, oh, there will be something. I haven't seen anything yet, so I'm a little sad about that.
As far as banning is concerned?
Yeah.
I think that they did officially say that they were doing the permanent bans, and that's why
did they officially say it, or did they say it on Reddit?
I mean, I think if it comes through the devs, either way, if they say it on Reddit or not, it's official.
Right. So, yeah, I guess for me, Reddit's not, even though the MSF team does comment on Reddit.
Well, first, let me see. Is that correct? Does anyone else know if that is correct 100%?
Obviously, about the permit bans?
Yeah, about the perma bans due to the core exploit.
Yeah, so at the moment, we believe that the bans aren't finished. So the main bans that have gone out at the moment have been for the credit cards. So,
right, and those are permanent or not?
This is the thing. So the screenshots of the people that have been found out and have been very honest about it, what came up in their game in most cases was basically on text, it was a 72-hour ban. Now, some of those guys have then said when they approach Fox Next, mentioned that they've been affected by this ban, they wanted to clarify why. That's when the wording was changed in the reply email, and there have definitely been some people who have been banned permanently, but there are still some people who are claiming that they only got banned for 72 hours. So whether there was a case of severity, whether there was, and the emails that they had was mainly saying that they were being banned because of multiple chargebacks. That's what the text actually said from the customer service reply to one person.
Interesting.
Clarify. The bans that we haven't seen yet, it looks like the people that were ticket hoarding are going to get a pass, but what they're doing is they're just giving in-game that new ticket cap so that you can't basically stack it like they were doing by just subbing alternate characters in and out. It doesn't sound like they're going to ban or inhibit the progress that those alliances made during that time. That's a bit of a bummer. But the ban wave that we haven't seen yet, and I've heard that logistically this is quite challenging for the developers to do, and there's no real comment other than something is coming soon, and that is the Barnhammer coming for people who have been game guarding, abusing. So that's, the Banhammer wave is not done, and it'll be very interesting to see with how much those top level guilds have already been torn apart, or alliances as people call them here apparently, because of those people that were caught with the credit card. That's going to be coming soon as well. So There's a lot of different talk out there, but Fox Next official response apparently is in the next blog update.
Yeah, so I talked to the creative director, and I was like, hey, I'm going to reach out to the community manager as well, but I was curious if there will be an official response or statement from Fox Next about the recent ban hammer that got dropped on a bunch of people. And he said, I believe so. This is not it.
Yeah,
he's a cheeky guy. I love him. But so hopefully there's something coming. I would have liked to have seen something saying, hey, this is what we've done and this is what we're doing. But then again, you don't warn the enemy before you come after them.
Yeah, that's what I think the main thing is here, is that they're not saying anything until they're finished with it. And especially since this Game Guardian thing seems to still be very much a problem that I'm not sure if it's eluding them as far as who's doing it or how to stop it. But it seems like the answer should be pretty obvious, that they should keep everything more server side instead of client side, which I think, I don't know too much about the inner workings of the game in that way, but it sounds like that's the biggest problem, is that they're able to change things with this hack at our client side. Correct?
Yeah, they're able to change like power
The
levels
values.
of enemies, health,
Right.
things of that level, things of that type. And I wanted to take a moment here real quick to apologize to Avenue, because he was on the show last week and we were talking about Game Guardian. He asked me to edit that out, but after listening to other podcasts, other content creators, that name had already been out there and it was already being discussed. So I chose to leave it in, Assassin. But I did hear you when you wanted me to take it out, but I did my research first, and that's why I left that in. So I just wanted to address that real quick. I didn't have a chance to talk to you before now, so I'm gonna just apologize publicly.
Yeah, I actually didn't even think about that, but that is something that, because whenever we spoke about it on our podcast, I probably should have not mentioned the name of it as well, just to make sure that it didn't spread. But yeah, so that was good.
You know what? I'll be honest with you though. If there are people out there that are looking for ways to cheat and they want, I don't mind giving them the information, knowing that they're going to get a ban hammer.
True,
because I want them let the ban hammer stop them. I want those people out of the game, because if they don't do it this way, they'll do it another way. So I'm very big on integrity and honoring the integrity of the game.
Yeah, basically use this as a means for them to temporarily utilize the system only to get banned later. That makes sense to me. But I think that the biggest thing here is that, I'm glad that they are doing something. Apparently, from what it sounds like, I guess they might not be permanent as far as the cores exploit, but I'm hoping, it sounds like it might be some are banned, maybe depending on the severity. I'm not sure. But bottom line is I'm glad that they're doing something, and I hope that I'm upset that the ticket exploit didn't get a little bit more punishment added to it, because that was a real problem for the people that were up at the top, and that is definitely exploitative, and they caused a lot of people to not get the rewards that they should have because of an exploit in the game, an obvious exploit in the game that should have been addressed. Honestly, Fox X should have taken care of that a while ago. I mean, I think even Chuberger and I talked about capping those tickets like a while ago, because beta shards already had them stacked up to a crazy amount. So go ahead.
Here's my problem with it, right? And I think it's only a partial fix, because you can still stack a second alliance that you can jump into, and you can run the 5 and the 6 at the same time. You can run multiple raids at the same time, because you've built up a 30K ticket base, and you can just keep that extra 30 in the bank. Does that make sense? I don't think that goes far enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is in a way a little bit of a band-aid fix, but it definitely will help stop them from doing this. It's going to make it a little bit more difficult, I assume and hope. But we'll see what happens with it. I would really like them to have a more permanent means of doing something, and I thought that putting down the ban hammer on this just as a general statement of we will not accept this would be a little more dissuasive for those people to stop doing that.
Yeah, personally, I think they need to roll back the rewards that they got.
The progress.
Take away those T4 ability mats, because it gives you such an advantage that it's
it really does.
you and Iris talked about it on your show that the rich get richer.
It's a big problem in this game.
It is a big problem, and I'm hoping that they're looking at the economies. But the problem is, so I think I've mentioned this before. I've done some in-game development in the past, and economies are never easy to adjust once they've been in place for a while, and you wind up either crashing the economy to basically rebuild it to the level that you want, or you implement smaller incremental changes. And so I think what we're seeing is Fox Next is taking the incremental changes route, where we're seeing lower quality value gear, which we're going to get into like here in a minute with some of the changes to the supply store, where you're not going to be getting the opportunity to grow as much.
Yeah, I mean, that's been kind of the underlying problem with this game as far as the rich get richer. It's what am I thinking? Wow, the word is now eluding me. It's the exponential growth as far as rewards as you move up the ladder, and it needs to be more of a regressive growth for rewards. That way it actually kind of nips that in the bud. And I think that that's totally fine. At the very least, it should be only a steady increase, like how they do it with Arena for Power Chords. That's why I don't have too much of a problem with Arena. But some of these are absolutely absurd and ridiculous, and it does nothing for the game except keep those people at the very top, and it's unfair. And it's bad for continuing game growth and allowing people to come in and try to get up to the top, because it's basically just you'll never make it factor.
Yeah, I agree 100%. But I think one of the ways they're trying to do that, as I alluded to, was they're restricting some growth by only providing certain things in different locations, such as the supply store. So one of the things that they did was they added the ability mats to the supply store this past week, and they immediately were like, oops, we should really add an 8th row, because they added it in the same location that you would get your ABCDs from. Yeah. And I know I call them ABCDs. I know that's not what they are. That's just an internal thing. So they did that. So I heard Chewy, I think it was you talking about only getting like the one ABC elsewhere, and that's actually been in the game for a while. I've seen that quite frequently. So that's not new. He was saying horrible, the frequency,
but the frequency went way up the last.
I have zeroed out.
That's been reversed now.
That's good. Hopefully that is going to stay reversed, because I think slowing down the economy is only going to hurt people trying to catch up. It's not going to hurt the people that are already up there.
So the good news is there was an update that came in this week. So we have the new row now. I don't know if you've noticed that this morning, but the ones in the ABC slot are now gone.
Yeah, I think those things were useless.
That's absolutely awesome.
Yeah, so it's back to 5 and 10s now, which is fantastic. So I'm really, really glad they heard that. The timing was, as usual, impeccable. We recorded that, and then I think the next day they put out the announcement saying, oh yeah, the ones are going to go away now. So yeah, there was no reason to do that.
Yeah, it was also funny how they pretty much contradicted everything this is a slight exaggeration, but they contradicted pretty much everything that they said in their in-game message. And they went back on the Reddit thread and they were like, oh, actually, yeah, sorry, this is wrong and this is wrong. This is wrong. We're going to do this instead because you guys hated it, which is good on one hand, because at least they listened very quickly to us.
Yes.
But at the same time, those seemed like some pretty obviously silly decisions that they were making. So I think they just need to think it through a little bit more. So next time, that's kind of been a problem with them since the beginning, but they are getting better with it.
They are getting much better, and I want to give them props. And I've told them this, that I love seeing the increased communication, but I think that they still have a little ways to go, and we'll get to my feelings on that in a little bit. But I do like the direction that they've taken. And in regards to these ability mats, if there's only be 5K per ability mat, sign me up every refresh. That's awesome. That
was that for the blues or the purple?
That was the purple. I just bought one. I just bought one T3 ability mat for 5K.
Still too rich for my blood. I wouldn't do it.
Nah, man. Those T3 ability mats. I'm trying to get Star-Lord up there.
I just don't have the extra. I just don't have the extra gold to spend on
Look, you can find 8 energy to get 5K.
But whenever I have so many things that I need to upgrade that requires gold, and gold is already relatively scarce.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
How much blitz currency do you have? Because you can just open blitz orbs, right, Chewy?
Like,
yeah, go for it. You can do whatever you want. I think there are much better ways to farm gold. I mean, there's some fantastic guides out there. I know Assassin, for example, has a really good guide for which nodes have the most gold per bang for your buck. But yeah, I'm glad they made these changes back to the store, because they threw all this gold at us recently. Like, everything's becoming a little bit easier gold-wise if they keep doing things like that blitz. And then they put a bottleneck on it. It's like, wait, what? It just didn't make sense.
What do you think of the purple ability map price?
I'd probably grab it every time it was out of the store if it is 5K per, because what would that be? So 25K for 5. I think that's pretty good. Add that to obviously the ability mat increase that we've now got in the raids per node as well for the Ultima 6. I think that all of that, they're obviously realizing that with all the new characters, people wanting to level up more, the more ways that we have to access that, the better. They're obviously trying to push us towards those orbs as well, because obviously if we've got plenty of those, but the T4 orange ones are a little bit scarce, now that they're in those orbs, we're interesting to see if the whales have been going after those. With that new slot, though, have you guys gotten anything in the way of orange gear? Anything come up as yet?
Has not appeared for me yet.
No.
I haven't seen it on Reddit yet either, unless I'm mistaken.
Yeah. So I went down to the new slot, the one that's on a row by itself, if you go into the store right now, and I actually had a pack of 5 superior health catalysts today for 160K.
Oh,
nice. Wow. I don't have 160K
because
that would go right into Star-Lord level 64, but
well, funnily enough, none of my characters at T12 right now need that. But I'm sure obviously things will change. And obviously there's going to be ways they're going to inject that orange gear outside of those orbs that you're getting from Thanos as well. Have you guys opened any of the orange gear orbs, or haven't been through Thanos as yet?
I have not. Yeah, we have yet to complete Thanos to 100%. So I'm not swimming in ability mats, but I have a lot of ability mats thanks to the 60% on Ultimates, but I am getting nowhere on the orange gear.
Yeah, same here. We're not clearing Thanos 100%. So
yeah, to give you an idea, it's pretty slow with what you're getting anyway. It's a lot of 1s and 2s from that orb in regards to like the superior ABCs and things like that. So, I mean, we've been finishing it almost daily, and at the moment, and I normally finish in the top 10 in Thanos. So I'm at 17 of the superior basic catalyst now.
I also actually, so I just checked my game after you had mentioned that, and I have my first piece of orange gear in there. It's 10 of the superior armor catalysts for 321K.
Yeah. See, that's the gold again. There's the creep right there.
Yep.
Yeah. So so Assassin in chat has been talking about the cost being outrageous. I kind of want to address that real quick, because in a vacuum, he's absolutely correct. So he brings up the fact that if you wanted to do one level 4 ability, it's 104 ability mats at 5,000 gold for that 140. That's 900K gold for one ability, right?
Yeah.
The thing is that in a vacuum, that's an outrageous price, but you're not buying these in a vacuum, and that kind of softens that blow on the gold price, because the game is more about getting those abilities as quickly as possible to increase what you can do to get more gold later. So these games are all about the efficiency.
I'm kind of at a bit of a plateau, and this is obviously subjective to me, but I actually agree with Assassin on the fact that I think it's a ridiculous amount of money to spend for basically what I would get in a day, or a little under what you'd get in a day. That's why it's too rich for my blood to do it. I would rather spend my money on so many other things that I need to spend my money on. I understand people, wanting to upgrade those abilities and willing to spend for it. But for me, whenever I have a different avenue to already get those purple mats, I'd rather use my gold on something that I can't more readily get those resources from, other than gold.
I'm 3 years in on Galaxy of Heroes, and I can tell you that the when I started, for the longest time, the gold crunch was real in that game. that when you're climbing, you hit a certain point where, you know, and I saw it in this game too, where you hit a certain point and you just couldn't get enough gold.
Right.
And so I guess I look at it a bit differently because I know the gold will come through normal organic daily use. I'll get gold. It's you know, it's all about what's most important to you. For me right now, getting Star-Lord's passive to level 4 was very, very important to me. Right. So to me, spending 5, 10, 20K gold to finish that off is a small drop in the bucket because it's a I'm not going to keep that gold, right? That passive is going to enhance all my other characters, and I'll get more gold because now I'll be able to go further or do more. So I don't know. I mean, it's these games. It's not real currency to me, so I guess I just kind of don't care.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you have your priorities, and you have that outlook on the game, which many people do, and I totally understand that. But for me, it's just, you know, like I have no other way to level up my characters other than spending gold on them, let's say. And there's many characters that I would like to be leveled up to 65 that I have yet to do, especially since the cost gets so absurd at the top. And whenever I can only use gold as my resource to do that, I'd rather use it for that as opposed to ability mats where I can readily get them from a different means, namely raids, every day. So it's consistent on that front. And, you know, obviously, like you said, you know, you got your priorities, and there might be that one character that you're in particular that you're trying to level up for a specific node or campaign. But for me, at least, that's my outlook on it. But
yeah,
it's definitely going to differ from person to person.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's all, you know, what are your personal feelings on the matter?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm going to leave that one. So
yeah,
I think it's great that they're there because it gives you another opportunity if you're just shy and you need a couple of extra.
I do agree that I am very glad that they are in the shop, and I think they should have been in the shop for a while. They reduced the price on them just a little bit, and then I'd be much more happy with them. But regardless, I am glad that they're there as an option for people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because God knows I'm going to be buying one or two. If like I'm one or two away from getting an ability, right, and I don't want to wait a day, I'm definitely going to put out 5 to 10K, you know?
Yeah. So moving on, I'm going to skip the next item on the list because it is... no, actually, you did not add it to the dev log 5, probably because you saw it was already up there. So
the Loki part,
yeah, the Loki part. We'll talk about that in the dev log 5 about Loki now finally being in the game. Yeah, and all the world rejoiced.
Yeah,
as we all know, because Chewie just unlocked him as we were doing our intro. So,
yeah.
However,
I'm gonna make you feel real good. I'm gonna actually put it all the stars. There you go, 4-star Loki. Yes.
I'm gonna hire someone to hack your account, dude.
Yeah, pretty much.
Good luck with
but
that.
Here's my thing on this, right? Here's my thing on Loki. They did an unannounced. They took the nerf bat to Loki, rightfully so. I'm not saying he didn't need it. Okay, so I want to get that clear first. He did need to have some retouching because when I went over his kit, I was like, that's not going to work. But
I say debatable to that, but we'll get into it later.
Well, yeah, that's the Nick Fury thing. But the problem that I had with it was they made the change without telling people, regardless of him being accessible to people. We still had his kit in the game. He was a selectable character in the game to review. They took the nerf bat to him without telling us they took the nerf bat to him, and that to me, and I actually communicated this to the community director and the creative director that can cause some people to worry that we're going to start seeing a backsliding in communication, that you're going to do things without telling us that you're going to do things, because the communication has been par excellence the past few weeks, the past month. I don't want to see them start to slip. They've not done enough to not tell us things. You know what I mean?
Right. Chewie, did you want to jump in on this one first, or do you want me to go ahead?
Yeah, no, I'm happy to. So we spoke very, very briefly about this off air, but I actually disagree on this one that I don't think it's that big a problem, simply because of the fact that he hadn't gone live in a playable sense yet. He was definitely in the workshop. They announced, I think maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, that they were readdressing him. That was one of the reasons for the delay in him already. But, we saw what happened. I mean, if you want to talk about not communicating something, I think the thing that was a bigger deal, it was the day that they actually turned Loki's previous kit live for one day. And it just broke the raids. Like, you could not do Ultima 6. If you hadn't done the Blaster Challenge, if you haven't done it up until now, congratulations, folks. It's going to be more difficult than it's ever been. That's something a lot of people aren't talking about, is that by giving him better than what his original kit was, now he's going to be harder there. If he had been as he was previously, he would have been insane. But if he had been live, as in we could have unlocked him, or that those changes were live in the Ultimus raid, for example, I'd be exactly as cranky as you are now, Dorian. But the fact that they made that change at the same day that they put him into the game and said he's ready, this is how he is, go forward. I don't have a problem with the way they've done this one. I agree. We always want communication to be open. We want it to be frequent. But yeah, I don't really hold too much to account for that, considering he wasn't live to be unlockable. That's where I'm at. What about you, Hebrew?
Well, for me, I kind of sided with him actually, because I feel like we deserve to give them some freedom whenever it comes to the characters that are unreleased. And I know that he was in the game and he was in our roster and everything like that. And I know some people were planning in particular for him for those reasons. But I think, or based on his kit, I should say. But I think that they did him justice on his change. So I don't think that anyone that was planning on getting him, I don't think that they're really going to stop. I don't think that deterred them at all from doing so. So yeah, I think that it's fine that they did that. It didn't really affect me too much. Now, if he was live and they just changed him, then yeah, that's a problem, because you can't just do that to people. They need to know, okay, I don't want to invest in him anymore, or something like that, or what the heck, I already did invest in him. There's some differences there. But for this, I feel like it's just a little bit of splitting hairs. It doesn't mean or matter too much. But yeah, that's my take on it.
So for my rebuttal on that, though, is if you go to the to their website and look at the release notes for 1.4, they have dated information there now. That because they gave Loki's new kit, and I'm doing new in air quotes until they changed him today, where if you didn't know any better, that's what you're expecting, right? So they changed him without updating any of the other information and without telling us. So you're absolutely right. It would not have changed. It's not going to change the fact that I want him, and I think he's going to be absolutely phenomenal with other Mystic controllers, given that passive. I just think that doing it without giving us an update is the wrong way to go, and it's a bad precedent. Whether you can get him or not, he's in game where you can go through and look at him and do the math and see the statistics and understand the stats.
Yeah, one thing I would like to point out on that is just that I agree with the fact of, I wish that these changes would have came from them directly as opposed to indirectly through Casino. Obviously, love Casino, big fan. We've spoken many times before, but and he even says this himself. I don't have any problem with them relaying the information that they get, ourselves included in that. But I do wish that they would, instead of giving us side information, and like, oh, you guys go out and release this, I would rather them just go ahead and tell everyone at the same time.
Yes, I agree. And that's what I want to see.
Yeah.
So I'd love to jump in on this. So Here's the thing. I was probably, and I have been for a long time, one of the most vocal critics, because for a long while there, the only news we were getting every week was from third party. And I thought that was 100% wrong. When that is the only source, obviously that is a process that has the potential to be manipulated by both sides, okay? Both the company and obviously the content creators. Since we've been directly interacting with the devs, the new strategy they have, I actually understand it and I actually support it more than I thought that I would. So here's the thing. We know now that Fridays, we're going to get an update of some sort. If they're running late, maybe it's Saturday like we saw this time around, right? What they do is where they have an opportunity to do so, they basically say, all right, look, we want people to know this is coming. Our standard day that we have to post this is Friday. What if we could find a way to give the community an option to find out this information earlier? The way that I perceive advanced news through Casino or Seaton or one of us now is basically you're just getting that same news 3 or 4 days early. Because I don't think there's been anything that any content creator has revealed significantly in advance that wasn't confirmed by devs within 4 days. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
Yeah, but so I actually, sorry, go for it, mate.
Oh, just a small interjection. For me, it was actually just one of the things where obviously they're okay with that information coming out to the public. Then why not? And I understand, supporting your content creators by giving them a little extra bonuses, but I feel like that can be accomplished in other ways. Instead, it's like, I don't know. I feel like it's just a weird thing where, all right, they know that the information is going to get out there, but instead of just directly saying it themselves, they'll give it to a third-party source where only some of the population will hear it. Like you're penalizing some of the population.
I completely understand what you're saying, but this is just the way that big businesses work, man. They're like significantly big boats that they're in a direction, they're heading that way, they have a structure, and to simply change something to say, all right, we're going to put out a communication on a Tuesday instead of a Friday. There's probably one guy whose entire job is to basically say, no, we will do Fridays. The only communication I want to see from Foxneck is on Fridays. That is our thing. That is what we do. And with these bigger corporations, it's so hard to get communication out through other channels when you have someone whose job is apparently PR, because sometimes they can be very protective of it. I've been in a company where we had something similar, where we've known that something was available, a new change was coming to a product, but we simply weren't allowed to talk about it. However, behind the scenes, we were allowed to prepare some of our bigger customers very similar with this advance notice. So yeah, I don't have a problem with it as long as they don't go back to the primary information source being us or Casino or whoever.
Right.
As long as they say, okay, here's the sneak peek, the proper announcement's coming on Friday. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I can tell you that that content creators that have a lot of this this information that don't basically go ask for it, are going to be under NDAs typically. So, that's the other thing to take into consideration. When we get it, like I don't have my NDA yet, right? So I'm free to talk about really whatever I communicate with them, but I'm going and seeking the information from them. They're not coming to me.
Right. And I totally get that. But that's the thing that kind of gets me. It's just that so for Chewy, for your circumstance, I get that because they're telling you particular customers that need to be privy to that information so that way they could prepare. For us, they're not discerning any particular population. They're basically just giving an advantage to people who listen to Casino stream, for instance, or watch Casino's videos. So I don't know. To me, it just seems like there's no real advantage, or that they're just kind of picking a population arbitrarily to give them extra information to, whenever everyone else that should have the same right to have that information are not going to be getting that information as soon as everyone else. It's just giving in my opinion, it's just like giving an advantage to a certain demographic that shouldn't be. It is.
That's definitely a good point. That's a very good point. Absolutely.
Super minor info to a particular degree. I mean, we know now that we're getting, or when the oh my gosh, what am I saying? We know when the block party thing is coming out. Granted, we just found that out last night, and now it's changed again today. But let's just say it didn't change, and it came out 2-3 days later, right? Which has been the case for some pieces of information that we've seen in both bigger degrees than this and less. But we would know to start prepping our defenders team for this block party thing going on. So I think that gives a little bit more of an advantage in some ways. And yeah, it's never going to be a crazy advantage, but I think that it's just an advantage nonetheless. So that's my take on it. See, if Irish was here right now, he'd be very, very upset. Corporate structure giving things to people that they shouldn't have information for.
Yeah.
Shut down data mines. Yeah, I think. Sorry, I'm reading this from the chat from Avenue Assassin. He mentioned that they should shut down the data mines. I think that, you're right, because that's a similar kind of thing. I do get excited whenever I see data mines come out, just because I'm human. But in those same for those same reasons, I mean, it might be more beneficial for them to do that. I don't know, even though I do benefit from it. But see, that's me being protective about an advantage that I get, and that should be the case.
Right. No, I agree with that completely, and I think that while some may consider this to be as assassin here, it's super minor info. I don't think anytime a character is updated, it's minor. You're changing their mechanics in some way that people should know about that. Whether or not if the character is, if you can see them and you can access them, you should know. But
just taking a back step though. I know the Panub is in the chat at the moment. Panub, if you stop doing data mines, I'm going to be super upset. I'm one of the guys that looks forward to your post every week.
If they're available.
Oh,
if they're available, please don't stop.
Panub, since you're in the chat, please expect a DM from one, if not all three of us very soon. That's all I'm going to say about that. So, so let's move on now. So yes, and of course, he is currently available in premium orbs. That was a data mine that turned out to be correct. So yay, that one. He is going to be available on Blitz starting October 4th, which I can tell you right now, I am not going to do very well in because that's my anniversary weekend. So thank you, Fox next. Let's see, Loki. Marriage, Loki. Yeah, okay. Sorry, Loki. Although my wife, in all fairness, is a huge Tom Hiddleston fan. So,
oh yeah, he's a bit of a lady killer as far as that goes.
He is, and my daughter's 12 now, so I get to hear how awesome the Spider-Man actor is, and I'm like, oh. Anyway, moving on. I wanted to hit real quick because I saw that Casino just tweeted it out recently. Mm-hmm. It's the Blitz predictions for the current Scarlet Witch. So if you're listening to this after Sunday the 17th, 16th, my bad, sorry, I can't do math. Then I apologize. This is stale information. But rank 1 is looking to be like 8.2 million, 2 to 15 is 6 million, 16 to 100 is 3.3 million, 101 to 1500 is 1.8 million, 1 to 10 is 760k, 11 to 25 is 350k, 26 to 60 is 120k, and 61 to 100 is the baseline 64k. So there you have it. That's the MT Kason's official Blitz predictions for the Scarlet Witch Blitz that ends Sunday, September 6th.
Are you guys going hard on Scarlet Witch?
I will tell you that I'm currently an 8-3. But unlike other podcasters or other individuals, I am not going to sit and blitz while doing my show. Hey, if I got to take the Luke Cage, I can bite back.
Hey, dude, I've literally been blitzing as we've been talking, and I've been doing some raid-guys. So it's about multitasking, my friend. There's no problems with that at all.
Yeah, see, I blitzed earlier, so I'm on cooldown right now. So.
Yeah, I came off a little while ago. So what sort of scores are you guys posting? Like, are you going to go hard? Do you think you'll get the 1.8 million or above to qualify for 1,500?
I doubt I will, because I need to actually rework my blitz teams. I've only got one, maybe two reliable, like 25 to 30k blitz teams. I need more than that to really be able to hit that milestone.
Yep. Yeah. So for me, I'm going to get top 10% because I care more about the Mega Orbs than the Scarlet Witch shards. So that's going to be my take on it. I haven't really touched it at all yet, just because it's such a daunting task for me on Blitz now. I hate these windows for the love of something. Just sorry, my language. I have to filter my language, and I'm learning to do it on the fly.
Good and holy, for the love of all that's good and holy.
Okay, for the love of all that's good and holy. I just cannot get over these 2-hour windows. I still have not acclimated to that yet. So for me, it's going to be a last-minute scramble, which will inevitably lead to me being on the game pretty much all day, which will also not make any sense considering my strategy. So it's just going to be chaos, and I'll probably get top 10% for it.
Okay. Yeah, so my new blitz strategy is to save myself from burnout, because I was getting damn close for a little while there. Basically, there's only one blitz a week that I go hard on, and it's whatever one falls on the weekend. So, for example, because my weekend here is Friday, Saturday, I've gone in hard on the Witch. Plus, obviously, with Loki being in game now as well, Witch and Loki is a completely different animal, and I think that there's still going to be some sort of a shift to the meta, I think, because of Loki, although not as strong as it would have been otherwise. So any Mystic controller I can get my hands on beefed up right now, even though I very much let the last Scarlet Witch one go through to the Keeper. But yeah, for the people in our chat saying Mega Orbs are trash, I completely agree with you, because I think if you've been really lucky with Mega Orbs, you're going to love them, all right? If you've been really unlucky with them, you're going to be like, what do I want? Ultima Shards that then become more Ultima Shards?
Oh, well,
yeah, that's something they need to fix.
Yeah, I mean, that's a circle of diminishing returns that I hate and have experienced, and they're terrible. But that being said, I think that for the value that you get of how many shards you get at a minimum,
that is true.
Fantastic. And the characters that are in the pool, a lot of them are good, a lot of them are bad, but there's still a decent shot at the good ones. And for me, I've gotten Nobu, 100 Nobu, and 100 Black Widow, and 50 Black Widow, and 50 Nobu. So, as you said, I am a big fan of the Mega Orbs. So I have also gotten a Ronin and an Iron Fist before. Actually, I think I've gotten multiple Iron Fists. So yeah.
Well, then you're all ready for the Defenders rework.
That is exactly my take on it. So one day I knew that these would become useful.
Well, I tell you what I'd love to see change to the Mega Orbs. Not so much Premium Orbs. I think they're okay. But Mega Orbs, especially in Ultimus Orbs, is that I would love to see that as new characters cycle into those orbs, I would love to see some of the ones that are just easily farmable, have been out for a long time, move out. I mean, they're the ones that they're the big reward. We can't get them very often. I would love to see it, because every time they add a new character to one of those, all that's going to happen is your odds of getting the character you want out of a Mega Orb decreases. Just because the more people that are in there, the less chance you've got of getting what you want. So I would love to see them look at that. In fact, I should write that. I haven't really annoyed the devs this week. Maybe I'll make that my thing.
Please do that. They love that.
I mean, what do you guys think about that? I mean, the Mega Orbs, it seems like it's getting worse and worse as far as being able to get characters you want, right?
Well, but isn't that the whole point, though? Because it's the same with like the premium orbs that you buy for cores. That it's a gamble. It's a slot machine that you're pulling the arm of, and you're hoping it comes up 7. And you're just, I don't know. I look at it as gambling when you open a premium, a mega
slot machine. Going to the same slot machine you played last week, sitting down the same thing, and then having worse odds of getting the result that you want than that was last week. I mean, who's going to keep gambling in that system?
Well, why is it always getting worse? I missed that part of your conversation.
Because every time a new character comes, the pool of characters gets bigger. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but they're not all necessarily bad, right?
But they're not all necessarily good. What I'm saying is every new character reduces the chances. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that there's probably there's a proportion to that I think enters the situation, especially actually since the new characters that we've seen have typically been better than the bad characters that we still have in the game. Yep. And we've seen that they are going to rework characters that are bad, and we've seen all of the reworks pretty much end up on them being incredibly strong. So any shards that I get of someone bad, like, I'm not particularly upset about my Iron Fist. I'm not particularly upset about my Ronin, because I know that they are probably going to be very strong. So it's not great for the short term, but in the long term, I don't think it'll matter too much. That's an outlook that not a lot of people have, and understandably so, in a game where it requires you to take action now and be good now. But,
so here's why I disagree that it's good for the long term, though, Hebrew, is that let's say a year from now, you would have a large portion of those characters that are from the Mega Orb already at 7 stars. Right. And if all those characters that have been out since the day the game launched, with multiple farm modes like your Gamoras, your Crossbones, all those sort of characters, right? Is that you're going to see them and just go, oh, God. Or even Ronin, you probably got him at 7 stars by that point. then that feeds into Ultimates, which has exactly the same problem. They keep adding more and more characters. And then you just end up getting currency that doesn't get you anything, that doesn't get you anything, that doesn't get you anything. At that point, I think it becomes worse. Sorry, Matt.
Right. For me, I think that that is a separate issue entirely. I think that the big problem there is the Ultimate Orbs, and I have been saying for a long time that those need to be changed because they are terrible. The circle of diminishing returns that happens pretty much every single time, especially for those people that have seen the casino unlock video. He did I think he did 10 of them, and it was terrible. He got he didn't get one of them as the 15 Ultimate Shard drop. And everything was basically just diminishing returns to be sunk back into one more Ultimate Sword. And he got nothing out of it. He got Luke Cage again. So, yeah, I think that the real problem there is with Ultimates, because if you make it to a point where you don't mind getting more shards for those, or even a little bit excited about getting more shards for those characters that you already have at 7 stars, because now you get another shot at getting this big guy, which is why they're reworking Ultimates, I think, is to make him a desirable character.
I think so.
And so I think that hopefully with that will maybe come a rework to that system, because, yeah, that's a problem. And I think people would be a lot more open to the Mega Orbs because of that, because you feel like even if you get that redundancy, you're going to get something out of it.
Definitely.
Right now, I agree that is a big problem, and that's kind of haunting the Mega Orbs.
So
I wasn't sure if someone was going to talk or no. But.
Yeah, so I kind of digesting what you said, because, you know, as Assassin in chat mentioned, one of the, you know, like there's no minions in the Mega Orbs. They are adding new characters, but honestly, like I just went through while you were talking and was looking at all the characters in Mega Orbs. I'm like, yeah, I've got some of these guys at 7 star, but I don't think I'd be upset by hitting on really any of these characters. So, you know, because we're seeing that in this game, they want to make every character usable somewhere, somehow, even though my 5-star Ronin won't work in my Nick Fury. Hey, I got him to 5-star today, and I was like, sweet Nick, no, wait.
Can't wait to use him nowhere.
Yeah, I can't wait to use him nowhere. Yeah. But it's how, I don't know. I see the more characters you have 7-starred, the less value these Mega Orbs become, because you're just turning them into like you said, you're turning them into the Ultimate Shards. If you're just starting out, these Mega Orbs are gold to you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. You know, so I think again, we have to make sure that we talk to, and that's one thing I want to make sure that we focus on in our new show, is that we don't leave our newer listeners or our newer players out of the conversation, and we only talk about, you know, more matured veteran players, be they launch or beta or just a couple of months in.
Yeah, Flip and I were actually talking about that earlier today, in fact.
So, so I'd like to go ahead and move on now and talk about. Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, sorry. I forgot to mention this earlier, but I don't think we ever touched on this. Are we done with the Loki part, or have we already bypassed that?
So we talked about the premium orbs. I talked about the fact that he's going to be coming in Blitz October 4th, because that's my weekend. I just want
to mention something about the changes on him.
Okay.
So I don't know how you guys feel about his change from his passive to his ultimate. But for me, I was actually like, I love his new ultimate. Don't get me wrong. I think that it's a great new ultimate, and it will definitely affect the meta. But I actually liked his passive before, and people are saying that it was crazy overpowered and things like that. But I think that it was needed because of what we see right now going on with Nick Fury. And that was one of the biggest counters to it. And I think that would have been, and is going to be, a problem that we're going to experience a lot, because this game is very susceptible to power creep. And we're going to be seeing that. But I personally thought that was totally fine, and the synergy that he had between him and other controllers was totally okay, just because we've seen incredibly strong synergy before, and you'd be praised for that strong synergy. Like if you have a full Nick Fury team with Shield, like they have incredibly strong synergy. Why are they not nerfing that, but they're nerfing this synergy for controllers. I don't get that.
Well, okay, so let's be honest. The reason why is because people spent money to get the Kree, and if they nerfed the shield so soon after people, Chewie, how upset would you be if they came in and said, "Yeah, we need to kind of kill this Nick Fury team a little bit"? How pissed would you be?
It would be basically seeking. It'd be basically. First of all, I'd actually try and seek some refunds for the Kree orb, because basically it was advertised in a manner that they intended to change, and especially because I'd reached out to them a few times, and I've seen them comment officially in a very older comment that they would not change Nick Fury's kit. He's working as intended.
So, well, I think that comment didn't come from Casino? That Casino's like, I talked to one of them, and that's what they said.
The first one did. I've also done the same thing, and that there was actually something posted by a dev person that said, no. Okay. And this was before Fury actually came out. They said, no, what you're seeing is real. This is working as intended. They're not an unbeatable team. They are just irritating. But do you want me to tell you why they're an unbeatable team?
50K higher than them, you might have a chance.
Not necessarily. There is a luck component, but let me tell you why they had to change Loki, and Fury is part of the reason, but not the main reason. All right. The reason that Fury wins most of the time is because when he spawns, he gives the speed up buff to his entire team, and that pretty much means that every person on that team is likely to go first, unless there is a high level Korath on the other side. Okay. So your whole team's going to go first, and that you are going to be able to kill something before they get to take a turn. Loki was worse because he was able to have all Mystic controllers have a turn first, as well as being able to put a variety of different bonuses. So, I mean, if you had him with Mordo, with Scarlet Witch, you could set it up so that an entire team wouldn't be able to hit anything, was perhaps stunned, slowed, for multiple turns, like 2 to 3 turns in some cases, which was just so powerful, it wasn't funny. I mean, we've seen the new kits for the Shield characters go live. It hasn't broken the raid for anyone. The second that they put the previous Loki kit, and for those guys asking in chat, the previous Loki kit was that he gets 100% turn on his spawn, and then all Mystic controllers got an extra 50% speed. And they've changed that down so that now the speed is significantly lower. I think it's 15% for him, and then it's 10% for all other Mystic controllers. So it's much more in line. So, yeah, I think this had to happen because it was far too overpowered with how it would have been for a passive ability. And, yeah, I think Hand Sentry dies in the meta now, and Loki replaces him. Yeah, I think that's the way it shifts.
That's a shame because I leveled up my hand team like crazy a while ago, and I have a really nice one.
Well, yeah, but you get the relic event. So
yeah, he's still going to be good. I mean, he's still going to be good in blitz and things like that too. It's actually a very strong team altogether, and he comes in handy for city villains nodes. That's for sure. But
so there you go.
So for what you mentioned, I think that this is one of the big problems too, is that, right now, instead of Loki dominating the meta, it's Nick Fury dominating the meta. And that's the problem with creating these characters just to get money is, basically making them so powerful to make everyone spend on them, is that it's an unsustainable model that will inevitably lead to a terrible situation that will lead to power creep. And you're going to find that the game is broken. So I think that they need to be more careful about things like that, because right now we kind of need, in my opinion, we kind of need someone like Loki in order to protect ourselves against the Shield team, because now the Shield team dominates everything. I mean, you can't, the biggest thing was, you use Strange. Well, if Strange gets, destroyed at the beginning, you're not going to be able to do too much with him. So it's very difficult to deal with him right now, just like it would be very difficult to deal with Loki. So it's kind of just like pick your poison, in my opinion.
Yeah. So we didn't really talk about what the specific changes were. So actually, I typed something wrong in the chat. I'm sorry. So real quick,
I can talk about it if you want.
Yeah, actually, would you Penub posted the list in game. Since you got Loki, you might as well be the one to talk about him.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, there was a big nerf to the ultimate, which we just spoke about then, that obviously the speed has changed a lot. However, what they have done is they've slightly nerfed the mind control damage as well. So that is a little bit down. It probably needed to be, because if you do that to a high level team, they would just wreck. Like your own team would wreck someone, especially if they pulled like maybe a Rocket or a Gamora in for your team, Dorian. So what they have done though, and this is why I think he replaces a hand centering in an arena team, is that when he casts his mirror image, which is available on turn 1, is that basically he gains stealth and that the entire team gets stealth as well. But the 2 summoned or possibly 3 summoned mirror images, if you have it upgraded all the way up, he's going to summon those guys, they're going to gain evade, and then everyone else gets stealthed. So in other words, they have to attack your mirror images. If they're a single target character that doesn't penetrate through a evade, what's going to happen is you're going to have to waste between 2 and 4 attacks before you can even try hitting something in stealth. And that's pretty great. It almost makes him a tank character in a very indirect way. So I think they've given him a really cool kit, and I'm hoping that survivability really helps out with raids, to be honest. So I really like that change. It's subtle, like it's only that thing that with the stealth that's been added, really. But I think that it doesn't make him OP, but it makes him super usable and opens up some real combos where you could get very nasty. You know, you whip out Strange, Mordo, Witch. You can do some really cool things.
Well, and Wasp is actually a really nice soft counter to him for that, because her special hits stealthed enemies. And
that's very true. And that's one thing I was going to mention was that that change that they made. I do like the fact that it was a very tactful change, because it basically changed a position that would have made him incredibly OP and made him, I'm sorry, I know that sounds like I'm contradicting myself, but I'll go back in a second. But it made a change that was incredibly OP and made him OP in a particular way that won't be every single game.
Yep.
Now, that being said, so those are the types of changes I like. That being said, I still feel like we need that incredibly ridiculous change in order to deal with the other incredibly ridiculous change that they made. So, but these, if they just went with strategies like these that they did with Loki for everyone, that's the kind of stuff I want to see, where it's very smart and strategic changes that make them powerful in particular ways, not just a general, I have all the buffs in the world and I go first.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I would have to agree with that 100%.
Yeah. All right. Now I'm good to continue onward.
Chewy, was there anything else that you wanted to talk about with that?
No, that's pretty much it. The only thing I guess I'd add there, Hebrew, is that, look, Star Wars Galaxies, which I played for a very long time and only quit this week, they're guilty, and most mobile games are, of exactly what you've said, that characters like this, basically they'll say, here's a legendary event. By the way, you need these 5 obscure characters, or one of them happens to be, like, let's say they launch something that needs Loki right now. That's a good example of a Star Wars Galaxies thing to do, is that they'll give an advantage or basically some sort of a meta advantage in arena for, say, 2 to 3 months before the cycle comes back around, and everyone else that didn't drop some cash has some time to farm them. Unfortunately, that type of power creep is pretty much the model that all these pay-to-play mobile games work off. So unfortunately, I think while you're against it, and I think it is going to be from time to time the way it goes, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah, no, I think that you are right, because that is the reality of this game. It's just I disagree with the use of that model. But I mean, such is life. So
yeah.
And Panub's gonna make me break out into song. But
I was gonna say that.
So I also by the way, quick sidebar, that tech team is crazy. So I just did, while you guys were chatting back and forth, I did an arena fight. I went up against like 130k power team with 100k power team with Star-Lord, Rocket, Thanos, Iron Man, and Vision. And my Vision's not that big in power, and neither is Star-Lord really yet. And that team just crushed 130k Crossbones defensive team. It crushed it.
those tech teams are insane. I wish that I could have one, but I refuse to level up my vision to do so. So,
but what but
words.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Can't.
We appear to have a stroke. Is there a doctor in the house? We've got a stroke event. Yeah.
So I heard you say that to Irish about why you don't level up your vision. And people, if you haven't heard that episode, if you really just want like 5 minutes of mouth gaping incredulity, go find that episode and listen to his reasons for not leveling up vision. Because you're wrong. Okay.
No, I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong about that. No, I'm not.
I grew up on Vision as the Avengers, and I can tell you they did a great job with him in the MCU.
All right. Let me just go ahead and say, first of all, I know that it is a stance built on absurdity and arrogance, but I hold it none the same. I will continue to not level him up until the day I die. So because of that. But
let me just say to anybody listening, nobody can mock me for my enjoyment of Luke Cage and thinking that he's not as bad a tank as everybody says.
That's different. No. That's very different. Mine, I know that Vision in this game is an insanely good character. I wish that I could level him up, but I refuse to do it just because I hate him in the MCU so much. I will never do it.
And I feel like that makes yours even worse.
It in some ways it absolutely does.
Every
but
way.
At the same time,
I'm going to say every way.
Anyone that is listening right now, do not be like me and go ahead and level up your vision and have a team that is worth destroying with. Because trust me, you will, and it's very worth it. For me, I will stand on this hill to the day I die. And I will also say that I do have the Elders, which is it's a group of Marvel lore masters in my Discord. We have discussed Vision at length in the MCU, and they all tend to agree with me too. Just saying.
Yeah. Hey, look, just because you have an echo chamber of wrongness doesn't mean that. And by the way, I look forward to when they come over. So.
Well, I'm sure you'll have a discussion with them about it. Yeah.
We didn't mention that, and we probably should have. That when we do this merge, we are going to be combining our Discords. Did you want to talk about that real quick, or you want to leave that?
No, we can go ahead and talk about that now. Since it
2 seconds before you jump into that, we've breezed past something just here. So. We can't just quickly move past the fact that after saying, unlike people, I don't do blitz while I'm recording a podcast. Meanwhile, Arena's okay. Is that where the bar is, Dory?
You guys were having this thing about Loki, and I'm like, you guys, look, I've already been told my Loki opinion's wrong. So, you know what? I pulled out, you've been talking about this tech team and how amazing they are. So I'm like, man, I got dropped to 935. My payout was an hour ago. I'm just going to mess around, and I'm going to do a quick arena fight. Okay?
Yeah.
And so there's a big difference between a 2-minute arena fight and doing 20-minute blitz climbs or, 5 or 6 blitz battles.
Sure.
So, yeah, I'm going to die on this hill.
Okay.
Same stance of absurdity. That's fine with me.
Absolutely.
Hey, look, I'm happy to increase the level of absurdity on this podcast to whatever level you guys want to go, boys.
Hey, look, well, you know what? I think the community will tell us what level is appropriate. Yeah. So they will tell us when to do.
All right. Well, we should probably move on because it is going to be a long one. That's for sure. The Discord thing. Yeah.
Yes, the Discord thing.
So just so everyone knows, because I know that a lot of my followers are on this as well, not only just because we have the same ones, but everyone else as well. If you are on my Discord, we are going to be moving over my Discord and merging it with Strike Force damage controls. So we're going to be doing that over, the course of, however long it takes, basically. But
right.
I'm going to keep reminding everyone we are going to, change the Discord name to whatever we decide the new name is. And we're going to rearrange some things on here. So we just want everyone to be compiled into one area just for the sake of ease.
Yeah, and we really made that decision from the logistics of things because I think that the Strike Force, just from the nature of being, 3 or 4 months older, had more members. So it was just like, hey, let's ask the fewer members to move over and consolidate them. So guys in the Strike Force Discord, you don't need to go anywhere, but there are going to be changes coming. We're going to be changing roles and memberships and stuff. Patrons, you guys are probably not going to wind up seeing anything different. You're still going to have your special patron channel. So we're just gonna have fun with it, and we're gonna I was a little trepid at first. I'm not gonna lie. And,
I remember.
I had some trepidations. I pushed really hard for me. Go figure.
I remember.
Go figure. And so, but we finally came to an accord that I think especially after doing the show tonight so far, I'm really excited about going forward, because I think we've got such a great dynamic that I mean, nobody's gonna compete.
No.
Okay. So anyway, let's move on now that we've taken care of that little bit of missed housekeeping. We are currently today, at the time of recording, in the midst of a double energy event, and I got to tell you, I love it. I absolutely love it.
God,
that's so good.
Oh yeah! Before the show, I spent 150 cores because I only had like 300 or so available. I spent 150 cores. I've got 3 of the energy events. I'm currently sitting at 850 energy, and then after the show, I'm going to spend that energy like crazy, and I'm going to finish leveling up Star-Lord, and I might start working on Vision, because holy crap, that tech team was amazing.
Yep. Yes, it was.
So
you can tell me about it in detail, and I'll live through it.
Absolutely, because there are other tech characters that you can use. You can take Vision out. And,
it's just all based around Vision. He's the main synergistic character that you want in that tech team. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can still make a good tech team together, but he's that one that ties it all together the most, in my opinion. But
I don't know. I actually like Iron Man in that because of that crit up.
Yeah, but it's the 2-turn defense up is so strong.
It's pretty hard to go past.
It's crazy.
Especially with Rocket.
Well, I'll have to actually get that there first.
Oh yeah, trust me.
My Vision, even though I have him unlocked, he's only Vision right now for me is only like 13k power.
Way too high.
Oh wait, I take that back. All Tech Ally, I do have his. Nope, his ability to level is not level 4 yet. So yeah, I've got to work on that, because he's only tier 8. He is level 65, but he's still only 3-star. So there ain't nobody getting to Mystic 3-9. So
yeah.
So you guys like the double energy event? You want to see that more often?
Oh my god, I love it. I want them to do it all the time, obviously. But in all seriousness, I think that hopefully they'll add it into their cyclical cycle of bringing out these events, and that they keep doing it at some point. Maybe not too often, obviously, and I know that's weird saying that from a person that needs it, but I don't want them to do it too terribly often, but I do definitely want them to keep doing it over and over and over again.
So here's my fear on that, right? Because I'll cover while Chewburger blitzes. So here's my fear on that, is that they're going to see people buying cores, and it may just be the $5, $10 core packs to get the bonus energy, and they're going to go and the suits at Fox Next are going to rear their ugly heads again and go, oh my god, we made so much money. We got to do this every weekend. Every weekend's a double, or once a month, every weekend, or it's a double energy event because people buy cores, not realizing it destroys the integrity of the game.
I completely agree with you, and that's something I worry about every single time when I see anything happen in this game that makes me want to use my cores, because I think that they're looking. Yeah, I think that they look at the data and they see, oh, look at this gigantic spike right here. We should do this all the time, and I worry about that all the time. I don't think that we can ever do anything about that. That's just a kind of a beast of its own nature.
So, I disagree. I hope they do it all the time, because a lot of people have done the maths on this multiple times. Is that basically time played, we all know, is the thing that's going to get you the most in this game. Like, you can't buy what you can unlock in a week free to play, right? Without spending a lot of money. by doing this with just the passive rewards you get in a 7-day period from just a couple of cores, if you save them, the more frequently they do this, I think you guys underestimate how much further you could advance from just this one event per week if you saved your cores for it, even if you only did 3 refreshes. I think that if they brought this around regularly, I don't think they will, because they're going to see how quickly people actually advance if they did this regularly. I mean, if that gets the money, sure, but it's going to speed us up in a long way.
Well,
if we didn't have,
no, go ahead, finish.
I was going to say, to quote the recently departed, when he was shouting more cores, Irishman, right. If we didn't have that, I'd 100% agree with what you guys are saying right now. But there is enough cores every week that you get for free that make this probably one of the best value things that they could do for the community with all the packs and everything. That's what I feel.
So let me go ahead and interject real quick on this.
Sure.
So
go ahead.
Wow, now I lost my train of thought. Okay. So I'm not arguing at all that it's, incredibly good for progress for anyone that gets it. I 100% agree. I think this is the best deal we've ever seen in our entire lives in this game, and probably ever will. It's, next to none. So I'm not arguing with that at all, but I'm saying from a progression standpoint, I don't want the game to get into this situation where we start progressing really fast and then they go back to trying to buff all of the current events. That's what I don't want to happen. So that's why I'm saying I want it to be spaced out just for the sake of the game itself. But I think that the deal is fantastic and you're never going to beat it. I mean, I love this deal.
So here's my thing with it, right? And here's why I agree with you that it's great from a certain standpoint, but you got to think about the fact that when you do these nodes, like let's say you start farming gear, right? Now I've been farming gear hard for Star-Lord. I can only farm every node a maximum of 10 times before having to refresh it, or 5 if it's a character node. So I am actually now going to have to spend more cores to refresh those nodes to be able to spend this energy. See where it's kind of becomes this cyclic event that, because I'm sitting at 850 energy right now, right? So I am losing the free energy that I would normally be building up during my downtimes while I wait for nodes to refresh. And so I think it's something you got to be kind of careful about. Then too much, because it does become a core cash grab, because not only are you going to use the cores for the getting the extra energy, but now you got to get extra cores to get the nodes refreshed, or you just sit and lose your free energy that you gain you would gain naturally.
Right. To that, I would say I know where you're coming from on that. I had thought the same thing as well as I'm not going to be able to get my passive energy now. But for me, I am, and I didn't really do it this time because I am going to and did miss the reset. But I would buy them, use the deal and buy them all right before the reset, and I would spend them on everything I wanted. And then right after the reset, I'd use my next days and spend them on everything I wanted. That way I limit the amount of time that I'm not gaining that passive energy. And as far as, what to sink it into to refresh nodes, I agree with you to a point. I would use it all on everything that I needed. And then I would use the extra as bonus just to farm up everything that I didn't quite needed, but that I always wanted to do. I'm always going to find some place to put that energy. That's for sure.
Right.
So
no, I mean, hey, I'm sitting at 850 right now. I will find a place to use it. And unfortunately, I've already used most of my stuff for Star-Lord, so I may just pick Vision and try to gear him up a little bit today. Probably just as a big double middle finger to you. And so,
Lucky you too, buddy.
Because you're so wrong. It's not the hill you die on, man.
I can't wait to have a dialogue about this whenever the elders show up. All right.
That's great. So if the I apologize, podcast, that because you guys audio only don't get to see what's going on in chat. Panub just asked a question. If the Venom movie sucks, are you not going to level up Venom?
I already know that the Venom movie is going to suck. So if those trailers are any indication. So that is a pretty big likelihood that could happen. We'll have to see.
Really?
We'll have to see.
So do you use Scarlet Witch?
I do use Scarlet Witch, but I don't really have too much of a problem with Scarlet Witch in the movie. She's not
a mutant, and she's not a mutant in game. So I mean, they're ruining that character.
But that was for contractual reasons, though. I think we all know that
fair.
because of the Fox.
Fox owns this game. Why is she not a mutant in the game?
Well,
yeah, that's a bad question.
That is actually
because they are not going from the MCU on these characters.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
Well, I think that they are following the MCU for the most part on these characters.
No, I don't even. I think that they're. I need to actually reach out to the creative director because this is a question that's dogged me because since I've started doing the lore on the characters in game, I don't know if they're going from Prime 616, but the fact that it's not consistent. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I actually spoke to the elders about this, and they were mentioning that before she was not. I mean, she was a mutant technically, but now they decided to go the Mystic route, which was a different arc of hers apparently. So which seems to be their thing.
So I've actually started reading the Uncanny X-Men from 1963, right? And she actually appears. Yeah, I'll tell you guys where to get those later. But so she actually appears in like Uncanny X-Men number 4 as part of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
Right.
She's a mutant.
Yeah, no.
I don't care how bad you retcon her, she's a mutant.
Right. No, she is. She always appeared as a mutant originally. There's if I remember correctly from what they mentioned, there's another arc, as many characters have many different arcs. There's another arc where she's mystically, or she has an origin based in a mystic stance. And that's apparently the arc, because you've seen how these movies take arcs and blend them into you. And so apparently that's what they kind of did with her. They liked that particular arc of hers and decided to go with that one. So I'm not sure what the situation is on that, but
so here's my only issue with that, right? Is because all the characters that we get to play as are from the same universe. So in the Marvel universe, there's the Prime Earth, which is Prime 616, right? Or Earth 616. That is the Prime universe. So we're in some Earth dash 1956, and you know, where are they getting the lore from for these characters? That's what
they've got a loophole there because of the Ultimus thing. I mean, we are playing in a multiverse in this game. Like that's the way
we're going up against characters in a multiverse, but the people that we have on our rosters are all from the same universe.
Well, I mean, that's an assumption. I mean, you might have a Scarlet Witch that operates on this world but came from another one originally. Like, there's no clarity 100% one way or the other, right? It's an assumption that what you're saying is true.
The stories would lead you to believe that.
If we keep going down this road, everyone's going to be a Skrull.
So, we're not going the Inhuman route. So, anyway.
No, I think that I think that we are actually we're all the good versions, you know, the non-mind controlled versions, because if I remember correctly, he's conquered every other universe besides ours. I think we're the last ones.
A lot of them, yeah.
And we're the good ones. I'm not 100% on that. Anyone that does know that 100%, if you want to speak up, let me know. If not, join us in the Discord and let us know after. But yeah, I think we're the last ones left that he hasn't conquered. So
there are others, because in the storylines they go to other worlds that he hasn't conquered yet. Because I think was it in the Scarlet Witch when they were going after the Siege Perilous? Doctor Strange was telling the Quake that was running that world or whatever that you know, they needed it to beat Ultimus. So they go get stuff. He hasn't conquered the rest of the known universe. They need to stop him from getting to the nexus of all realities where he could get to every place else. And that is only accessible from where they are, which leads me to believe they're Earth 616, but it hasn't really been clarified. And my only pushback to the multiverse argument is every version of Scarlet Witch in the game is not a mutant. Every version of Loki in the game is whatever. They're all identical. So I don't buy into the multiverse storyline or theory, mainly because if that were the case, then you would see a mutant Scarlet Witch, you would see a tech Storm. I mean, you would see something different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that they are that it's different arcs per universe. I think that they are following one consistent origin for each one that follows through all the universes, but I just think that they took the Mystic route with her, which is the one that they took in the or is that the one that they took in the movie or no? Yeah, that is the one that they took.
In the movie they took not Mystic. They were genetically manipulated.
That's right.
Using the power of the Tesseract, I believe.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure. Then I think that they just go with whatever they like for this game. Then I'm not sure.
Yeah, but I kind of want to see some consistency with the rest of the Marvel universe. That's just me. That's just me. So I apologize for derailing us on that one. We are not even halfway through our show notes.
Yeah.
So are you guys good with the double energy event? Was there anything else that you guys wanted to hit on?
Summation, yes.
It's awesome to keep doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go ahead and move on to the news that dropped, just a little bit ago, and that is the fact that the Devblog 5 posted. And this Devblog was probably a little bit lighter than what we've seen in the past, which is fine. I don't expect a novel every week, and I'm happy to see that they did it this week. I will be honest, I was getting worried because people have mentioned, it'll come out on Fridays, but Devblog 3 came out on a Monday. So there's been no set. They've only said they'll do one a week. They haven't said we'll do it this day every week. So, I had hoped it would come out today. And when I messaged them about my feelings on Loki, I was like, well, maybe we'll see something in the Devblog. And I had thought it would be in there. And I'm a little sad to see that the changes to him were not mentioned. But let's hit this up a little bit. So the first thing in here is the character reward update for campaign nodes. And I'm not gonna read through the whole thing. A link to the article will be available in our show notes. Basically, what's happening though is they are removing Gamora from Nexus 2.9, removing Crossbones and Hand from Villain 4.9 and 5.6 respectively. And new characters will be going in those nodes. So they're still going to be like Crossbones and Gamora will still be available in the Blitz store. But the nice thing is what the nugget here that they can say, and can you say Black Widow Nobu, is that these characters are not farmable yet in the campaign. So it could be the new characters. So we could see Rocket, Groot, other recently released characters, or we could see current characters that are in the game that are unfarmable, such as Black Widow Nobu. What do you guys think on this?
Actually, Chewie, why don't you go ahead and take this one?
Yeah, sure. So there are some hints on this. I know that Doran, you're not the biggest truster of data mines when they come out, but there was one by Penub last week that actually suggested that there might be some characters going to these specific nodes. So the fact that we've seen the character switch already be announced here might lend some credence to that. So the characters that have been proposed with that switch, correct me if I'm wrong, Hebrew, I know you've read it as well. Or maybe it wasn't Penub, but it was definitely someone in that crew.
Started with an M. I can't believe I forgot the name now, but it was started with an M.
Yeah, we'll find out who to give credit to that later. But either way, we saw that obviously Groot was one of the suggestions. I believe Wasp was one of the ones that will be coming to a node as well. And I can't remember the third, Hebrew.
Groot, Wasp, and Rocket. Well, she's not going to a node, but he's going to potentially the raid store.
Here we go, coming through now. So it was Groot to 2.9, Wasp to Villains 4.9, possibly Rocket to the Arena store. And then, so the Hand Assassin being removed from Villains 5.6 we knew about, but there was no suggestion in the data mine about who was actually going to fill that role. So I think Nobu would make sense. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think Nobu probably, just because I think they want to keep Black Widow behind a paywall, honestly. And, she's a far more desirable and useful character than Nobu, even though I love Nobu. So
yeah, and I can't tell you how much I hate that character. I mean, I see letting characters look. I'm living through the Star Wars marquee events where free to play are going to get a character basically 9 months after they release, but they'll at least be farmable in some fashion, in a month or in like 6 weeks. And
right.
I don't agree with leaving characters completely unfarmable in a game free to
totally
play,
agree.
or only available through premium orbs or premium currency. It's just I hate that so much. It honestly just makes me angry, and I'm gonna Hulk out on that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think that it's like holding a character ransom, basically, and I'm not a fan of that. But regardless, I have a feeling that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I don't disagree on that one. So, hopefully, and I want to clarify something. It's not that I don't like data mines. It's not that I distrust data mines, because the data is always subject to change. I think that data mines, due to the very nature of their inaccuracy or the potential inaccuracy, lead people to make bad decisions in the game, thinking that something's going to happen when it doesn't happen. They should always be used to help you, but not be a decision maker for you. So I think that the guys that do the data mines, especially Penub, are absolutely fantastic. And I think that they provide information that is good for us. It's just, I think that they always need to be taken with a huge grain of salt.
Yeah,
for
sure.
That's just my take on them. I just I see too many people go, well, the data mine says this, as if it's gospel, and it's like, that's not what it's not. Okay, breathe.
I think that, and I know that Chu had mentioned this earlier, but I think that is definitely, and I know to a degree you believe this as well, but that is definitely the reader's fault, not the data mine's fault.
Yes, absolutely.
Because if and this goes with anything in life like this, don't take this to heart 100% as law. Take it with a grain of salt and try to prepare for it if you want to. So I think that's definitely like it's just players need to have the right mindset going into reading data mines than what some of them apparently have.
Yes, I agree completely. Yeah. So moving into the next one, which is the mutant origin reminder. So for anybody that's not aware, they have added the mutant origin, and that it was going to change the way gear for them works, and the fact that you will need to farm new pieces to assemble their gear. However, the work you do in now will be converted on a 1-to-1 basis to the new gear, and you won't have to farm anything for what you currently have. However, we don't know where this gear is going yet, where the pieces are going to be, how you're going to get it. So my recommendation is, if you are doing any of the screenshots, I'm reading the chat and I shouldn't be. Any of you that are working on mutants now, do them and do them quick and get them geared up where you want them to be, so that when the new gear drops, you don't have to worry about it. Now, one thing I like that they said in here is this includes characters like Cable, Wolverine, Deadpool, and Storm.
Mm-hmm.
So more mutants coming.
Oh yeah, definitely.
More mutants coming.
And I'm super excited about that. And chances are, and Chewy, I know that you mentioned this on your show, and Dorian, I think you did as well, actually. But you spoke about how many villains are coming out versus heroes left in a year, right? And so there's only one. Is there one more hero left that's coming out?
So that's the question. There's supposed to have been 2 heroes for the rest of this year, right?
Right.
And so we got Storm, who's one.
Right.
The theory was that Okoye was going to be the second, but she's been pulled. Like she's a PvE character in the game, and but she's not really available anywhere else for view or anything. So it could be Okoye. She may be going more towards the beginning of next year. You guys tell me what you think, but having played through the Storm campaign, could it be Cyclops?
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, I really think the mutants need that leader.
Yeah, so after a very quick, I haven't got any supreme clarification on this, but with a bit of a chat that I had with one of the Fox Next guys, basically the conversation was pretty much most of the characters left for the rest of this year are villains, but don't worry, there will be more X-Men. Where, yeah, Okoye sounds like she's probably been put back on the back burner. I think it's much more likely that we're going to get more X-Men in the shorter period of time. I think Cyclops is probably the go-to, especially you finish right to the end of that storyline, Hebrew, for Storm's event.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, spoilers for anyone that's listening that hasn't gotten there right now. He's flat out announced, right? I think I'd be willing to put money on the fact we're going to see Magneto and Cyclops. Is there anyone else that you think are very likely?
Juggernaut, maybe.
I think Juggernaut,
so.
because we need a mutant tank, we need a mutant protector, and I think the only two that really come to mind are Juggernaut and Colossus.
Yeah. We are all on the same page for this one. But I think that's right. I think that it's going to be Cyclops as the hero, and I think that Juggernaut and Magneto are going to be the first two villains that we're going to see from the mutant origin. So I'm not sure as far as when they're coming out for him, but I assume coming up or soon, TM. But one thing I did want to hop back to for the origin gear, like I mentioned earlier, I'm trying to get all my mutants up as quickly as possible because I don't know when that gear is coming or how it's going to be released, rather, and if it's going to be really hard to farm or not. But it is a kind of a double-edged sword at the same time because I am pumping those resources into these characters that I could use for other characters. And if it ends up being relatively easy to farm up at the top end, then I could be using these ABCs for mutants unnecessarily. So it's kind of, you're going to have to edge your bets a little bit. But yeah, so, that's what I'm doing. I think it's probably the safest route, but we'll see what happens in time. Either way, I think the important thing to take is that anything that you have currently equipped will be moved over. Anything that you do not have, including just pieces of the gear that you're moving up to or that you're building up to, those won't matter whenever you switch over. What you have is what you have, and that none of that will be included. So
yeah, and I do want to say that there was one person mentioned out here that we failed to talk about for the mutant protector, and that was Blob.
Oh yeah, I saw a Reddit post about that.
I was going to say, if you didn't mention that, Panab was going to literally punch a hole through a screen, I think.
I saw him gearing back for it. So, and I did kind of ruin it a little bit because technically, if I remember correctly, Juggernaut's a mystic. Now, whether or not he was originally a mutant, I've got to do research on. But I know that he got his powers from his helmet. And so not as a mutant. So I'll have to do that. But Blob actually appeared in like Uncanny X-Men number 3 or 4 as a circus freak. So a little bit of comic book. So I've been big into the mutants recently. So.
Yeah. So Juggernaut, they'd probably give the Brotherhood tag though.
I would have to. They should, because especially if they bring in Xavier into the game. Spoilers.
Yeah, I think that they're going to.
He'll be a legendary for sure.
Oh, Xavier definitely is going to be a legendary.
Yeah, I think they're going to be counterbalancing.
Magneto isn't.
Sorry, I think we're going to be They're going to be counterbalancing the X-Men with the Brotherhood. So I think that we're definitely going to see people with Brotherhood tags.
Yeah. Well, so that raises a real quick sidebar. What villain mutants do you want to see? I mean, obviously we've got Magneto. I want to see Mystique. Who else?
I mean, for me, the biggest one. Let me think for a second to make sure I'm not missing anyone. I don't know. Probably, I think my favorite is Magneto. So probably Magneto. Like, I just want him to come out. I don't really have a prediction about anyone else, but Magneto's my favorite, so I'm going to say him.
Yeah, definitely that one.
He's Jewish, just like me. So there we go.
Yeah, I'd love. Well, Juggernaut's the one I want to see the most. I mean, if that comes out, I think that'd be a huge one. In chat right now, someone said Dark Phoenix. You could do the whole Light Phoenix, Dark Phoenix thing, depending on what they do want to do. I think Sabretooth is obviously one that if you've got Wolverine in the game, you usually have a counterbalance with a Sabretooth. You got all the really weird guys on the fringe as well. Like you've got, what's that guy's name? Was it actually Torch? Or was he called something else? And then there's Toad. Oh man, there's so many Brotherhood characters that you could do. I think Mystique would be pretty cool if they gave her some sort of a, you could sort of borrow an ability from someone else type.
Yeah,
thing.
she steals an ability or something. Yeah, she morphed into that character for one turn.
Yeah, they'll probably save that for Rogue as far as an ability steal type thing goes.
Yeah. No, I think Mystique should transform into an opponent character and get half their ability. Like if it's a 100% damage, she gets 50% damage.
Do we think that Apocalypse becomes a legendary event?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm thinking so.
I don't know
how. Do you think there's going to be like? Well, they'll probably just do what? Release the Horsemen one by one, and then you need them all. Oh, do you know who I'm forgetting? And I can't believe I did. Psylocke. Psylocke is the villain that they have to have.
Yeah, he would be really good to bring into.
So Psylocke was a girl. And she's one of the X-Men.
Wait,
did she start as a villain?
Someone else? Is
she kind of goes both ways. Yeah, she could call it. She's sort of an anti-hero type thing, like Venom is.
Okay,
yeah,
I know there was
times where they're on either side.
Okay, because I know there was a time where she was like a trainer for the X-Men. So
100%, absolutely.
Yeah, no, she would be awesome. So I can't believe nobody brought up Quicksilver. I'm a little sad. Because the original Brotherhood, it was Magneto, Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, Toad, and another guy, not Mysterio, but he was able to manipulate people to see alternate realities. So I would like to see. I think Toad would be interesting.
Omega Red?
No, it wasn't Mega Red. I'll have to.
No, I'm saying I'd love to see Omega Red.
Oh, you'd love to see Omega Red. Okay.
Yeah.
That one I don't know much about, but yeah,
there's a lot of guys in there. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I didn't know that Quicksilver was a villain. I thought that he was a hero.
No, Wanda's brother.
Yeah, I know. I thought he was a hero. I didn't know that he was a villain.
He was originally because. He was part of the Brotherhood of Mutants because Magneto saved Wanda from the villagers that were going to kill her, and she decided to join Magneto, and Quicksilver joined with her, but he's not a fully bad guy, so there was a bomb that was going to go off that would have killed all the X-Men, but it would have hurt the villagers as well, and so Quicksilver dismantled the bomb.
Okay.
So... anyway, I'm getting way too deep into the comic.
The Marvel lore.
So, yeah. So yeah, if you're farming or if you're working on the, keep doing it because every equipped piece will get transformed. Unequipped pieces will not.
Oh, also, I forgot to mention, probably the person I want to come for heroes. It won't be him, I'm sure, but Nightcrawler was.
Nightcrawler would be bad.
That'd be cool, yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, so I can't wait to see how they work him into the game. Fantastic.
I think Jubilee will make it into the game at some point.
Yeah,
of course. If they left her till last.
Also, of course, I know that he's not coming, but
waiting
Gambit,
for this. There it is.
You're never going to see Gambit. You're never going to see Gambit.
He's my boy, and I know he's not coming, so it's not like even up for discussion, and it hurts me to think about. But I'm really annoyed that he's not coming, but I know he's not coming.
Moving right.
By the way, I should mention also I promised this on my podcast, but if whenever Gambit comes out, I will do a Twitch stream of me dropping boatloads of money to get him up to 7.
Did you say 7?
Yeah. Maybe not 7. It depends on the bundles available, but we'll see. But either way, I'm going to do something big for Gambit whenever he comes out.
So you've got it here, ladies and gentlemen. You'll have to follow the new show, but he'll do it. So
I'll do it.
But Let's see. Cypher. Penub keeps
Trust me,
calling
I've
for
already
Cypher.
talked to them. I've already talked to them, Flip, and they're not going to do it right now.
So
my message to them was, if they do Juggernaut, I'm sending them a Christmas card. I got no one responded to that, so I was
we might have to send them a Christmas card anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
Just because. So for those of you that have Storm unlocked, if you've been using her, because I've actually been gearing her and using her because I wanted to test out her mechanics because it's so awesome. There was an issue with her raid charges, and the issue was that if she died in a node and you had Doctor Strange or Shield Medic and they resurrected her or revived her, the charges went away. And I saw this happen. I was like,
yeah.
But I'd read about it beforehand, so I wasn't too surprised. But if you let her die and then healed her using heal energy, she came back with full charges. So this has been identified, and they are going to work on fixing this. They haven't said which one they're going to do. They haven't said which is the proper.
With the strange mechanic is the one that it seems to be the most sensical.
Yeah, so it's where let's see. In short, there are some instances when reviving Storm will set her charges back to an incorrect number. This isn't intended when we fix. So I think that if she dies, they're going to set them to 0. So you can't let her die early on and then revive her just before the Ultimates to blow him up. So
no, I think
that's the right way to go.
Wait, hold on a second. All right, so you're saying that if she dies and then you revive her, that she will not have her stacks?
Correct.
I don't think that they're doing that. I think that they're keeping it where if she, like, so in the instance where Doctor Strange revives her in a game that she died in, she'll come back with the stacks that she was at. I think that's
I would be okay with
they
that.
were saying. I want her to do that.
That's the way they're going to do it.
Yeah, I think that's the only way also to make her viable. Period. If they do it the other way, I think you're going to have a hell of a time ever trying to make her viable, because you're going to die in these incredibly hard nodes, especially on your way up, because it's going to take a lot of nodes to charge her up to max.
You'd be surprised. So I've been using her, and I can get her nearly max at 2 nodes.
You're talking about max without T4 though, so that's 15 charges, right?
Yeah, I could get her to 12 charges in 2 nodes easy.
Yeah, I think
easily.
I think making her through. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, because that speed up when she lands it, she's really quick. I mean, she's surprisingly fast. I know it's only at 114. She's the same speed as Cap, but she's going off really well.
Yeah, for me, I have a lot of problems with her kit in general, but definitely with the speed up, it helps out. But still, bringing her through 2 or 3 of those nodes, depending on especially what you're doing it on, it's still a terribly dangerous task to do, because she isn't very tanky at all, and she can very easily get knocked out. And you're really only there using her basics. Like, you're never really going to use her special too much. If you do, it's going to be in very niche circumstances. So
now I will tell you that jumping into a node like early on, like there's that one node that's got like the 38 hand. Having that where you can just kind of slow stun everybody, really nice. Some of those early nodes, if she's charged up and you can drop a slow stun on everybody.
Right.
Why wouldn't you just blow them up though?
Yeah, that's my question.
What do you gain from doing that? If it was arena or blitz, I think you're 100% right. That even at lower levels that procs well, but why dump those charges without just blowing them up?
Because the damage at lower charges is worth it, in my opinion. I would rather slow stun them and then work on getting her while they're slowed and stunned, work on getting her charges built back up.
Yeah, so there's got to be a crossover point, I guess, where basically you'd say, okay, up until this charge, use her special, but then once you go past this charge, the ult you just can't really look past. I don't know what that number is, but I'm sure there is one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I haven't looked into it. For me, it's more intuitive on when to do it. But I will tell you that I reached out to the creative director I this is the message that I sent him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't know if you can answer this or not, but I'm highly curious as I'm going all in on Storm. Her special starts that she gets bonus percentages based upon the number of stacks of charge that she has. Those get well over 100% based off that. Is that just her chance to attempt the negative effects, or does it also increase her focus to land the stun and slow? If not, the mechanics of having an ability have 150% chance to even attempt it seems off. And I think that's so I heard you mention that, and that's kind of what led me to question him on this, because I had that same question. If it's increasing her focus, that kit changes completely.
Yeah, exactly. That was one of the questions I had whenever I realized that it went well over. And I was like, I wonder if it increases her focus on applying these, which would be better. Don't get me wrong, but I still just think at the end of the day with her, and once again, this is a kind of subjective question, especially since it depends on the node you're doing as well. But at the end of the day, as we know with raids, the earlier nodes are much easier than the later nodes, typically. So during those early nodes, I wouldn't waste any time with trying to get a few charges and then use her special. I would just be trying to get her special up as quickly as possible, so I am in less danger with bringing her into later nodes. And that way I can, because all she's going to be doing is basically going to be filling a spot with a bigger payoff for crossbones. I'm going to fill her up, so I'm going to put her aside, and then I'm going to bring her out for the boss.
And I get that. Down. I'm not a fan of preloading.
I understand. It's kind of meta,
and that's how I play the game, right? I'm not saying anyone doing it. I don't like preloading. Like I know a lot of people subscribe to I need one massive team to clear the entire raid. And I don't subscribe to that either, because I think each node may require specialized teams to take into that node.
I agree with that. Just let me say that.
And that that's where I think the wider rosters are a little bit nicer. Or I would use Storm. You're absolutely right in that her best is if you use her just a few nodes before, then take her in and just blow up at the very beginning. But I wouldn't take her in the beginning. I don't know. I'm torn on that.
Sorry, clarify that one more time. What were you saying though? You would take her in on the early nodes, and then
I'm saying that I don't like taking characters in for the early nodes and then shoving them until the end. Because,
I understand you don't like that, but
but I understand why people do it, because the way the raids are designed right now, they're so difficult to do it in any other way.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So that's where I'm torn on it, right?
Right, and I agree with you, because it's kind of that is a little bit of a purist mentality versus a metagame mentality, and one is where metagame is where you game the system yourself using everything you can. And preloading is a big part of that. And I totally understand where you're coming from. And in a perfect world where I could, I agree with wide rosters and using, you're kind of required to use specific character types to beat particularly hard nodes that require particular people. So I'm not opposed to that at all. But I think in order to use her properly, you pretty much are, or in a very useful, meaningful way, you pretty much are going to have to metagame with her and preload her. But I would like to be in this game and just, take that purist stance. But unfortunately for the level of content, just as you said, it's really difficult to do that in some cases.
And I'm hoping that one or more of the mutants or the X-Force that we see will help resolve this issue.
Yeah, and that's another thing is I really think that, and I know that most people agree because I've heard it talked about a lot, but the first thing that came to me before we got clarity on the fact that it doesn't work, but her counters and her assists don't stack with that charge. I think that they should. It would make her much more viable in so many different ways.
It would make her too powerful.
I disagree with that, especially since at that point you could actually use her potentially in different facets of the game other than raid. But it also synergizes with her so well with her passive and other mutants. So I don't know. I think that was how it should have been, because in the way it is now, I feel like you're pretty much, like I said, except for niche situations, you're pretty much never going to be picking her special over her ultimate, because what's the point of slowing them down and stunning them except in very particular situations? whenever you can just blow them all up.
So bear in mind, we're making these
because
assumptions.
The damage, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's right. So bear in mind, we're making these assumptions based on what game modes are currently available now. So the one thing that the dev, I think, have been sneaking to everyone, I think they've even said it, is that Storm is pretty much designed and built for 2 game modes. One is Raid, and the other one is Dark Dimension. Because they have already said that whatever this progression system that they have is, whatever gauntlet-style mechanic they have, that her abilities will stack from node to node to node. So I agree that it'd be great to have her go off more regularly, but I have a feeling there's a piece of this puzzle we definitely haven't seen yet. They've done everything but pretty much say that they don't want her, or they don't think that she's designed for Arena and Blitz. And I think that's actually a good thing, because we don't want Crossbones 2.0 rolling around as just a one-button win if you can't kill in time.
And you would never be able to stack it up to be that same damage though that you get.
You'd be surprised with that.
If you had her on assist encounters, I think
you would
100% could. Yeah,
absolutely. And here's part of my argument on why the assist encounters should not work. Nobody else in the game does that. You tell me that you want Thanos getting counter whenever he assists or whenever he counters on his basic.
That he gets what?
He gets counter. So when Thanos attacks somebody with his basic, he gets counter. So if he counters somebody, should he keep counter?
Well, bear in mind though that there's so many different things where there's no hard and fast rule though. Like there are a lot of characters that do get the benefits of their counter or assist, and some that don't. Like they don't have a very hard and fast rule here. I mean, obviously the best example of that right now is Black Panther.
No. Black Panther's passive on kill. He doesn't get it on. He doesn't get a counter. Like if he counters, is he gaining a bonus on counter?
If he kills them, yeah.
Well, no, that's on a kill, and that's even if other people kill on his turn. So that's his,
but that's not like this one. But there's inconsistency there.
No, it's not, because that's not his basic that's getting the bonus.
No, that's true though, in that case, yeah. So then you've got Spider-Man, who can absolutely get his evade up on a assist call. Then you have, I have a feeling that Miss Marvel code's very similar as well, that she can get the deflect up on the basic.
Yeah, there's lots of characters that have that. In fact, Casino made a big spreadsheet for it, and there's lots of characters that will apply the effect that they have. Not all, like you said, there's no hard and fast rule, but there's lots of characters that will apply the effect that they have on their basic to a counter or assist.
Yeah, exactly.
I see. Yeah, so I think that it should be one way or the other.
I agree that it should be consistent in one way.
But I will tell you that
why is Gamora the same way as Black Panther? Do you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of these little things that they haven't coded the same that I don't think they will. I think that some of these characters, just you have to look at them in a vacuum and say this is kind of the way they are or the way they're not. So,
but I will tell you that having used Storm and using her in raids a lot, and she, by the way, she is phenomenal in that Thanos raid. She absolutely murders people in that Thanos raid.
I am excited to actually give her a legitimate shot with it.
Her counters build up. If you gave her the counter, if you gave her charges on counter, they would just it would be there'd be no stopping her. She would be Crossbones 2.0.
But here's the thing, though, is that I think, well, and you know, maybe not. I really have to play with her more. Right now, she's like 12K for me.
Okay.
Nowhere near what I need to have her for to bring her into a raid. So I can't say this for myself. The only thing that I've seen her in so far that I've used her in is the event. And so, in the event, even, I still feel like if you had that effect, I don't think that it would stack so fast that it would be broken. And here's my biggest thing about it is I feel like in order to make her passive actually useful, because it's useful on its own, but if it's overshadowed by this amazing ultimate. So, and considering they both use up all your charges, you're going to have to pretty much be forced to pick one most of the time, unless you want to occasionally use your special right at the beginning to do something. But and like I said, I'm sure there's an exception, but this is the vast majority of the time. So
what I would tell you is my Storm is only 10K power.
Right.
Yours is 12K. Take her, run her through a few nodes and see how quickly she builds up charges.
On
Thanos, on the Thanos raid, just early nodes. Take her in and run her on the Thanos raid early node and I promise you will see something that you're not expecting.
I'll definitely give it a shot.
I can give you an example where she'll have 4 charges by the end of her second turn, maybe 5. So you run Fury with her. Fury takes his first turn. If Operative has the T4 ability mats, Fury is going to have speed up, defense up on himself, and also 2 counters, and then he shares that with the entire team. So Storm now has 2 counters on herself. She has her turn. She gets 1. She gets hit twice somewhere between that and her next turn. There's another 2. She takes that turn. Now, Fury also calls hero characters in on assists. If you had a perfect storm of RNG, by the end of her second turn, she could be somewhere between 3 to 6 levels of charge by the time she takes her third turn. So
yeah, I still don't think that's that bad.
I'd love to see it. What's the damage stacking there? It's pretty high, right?
It's 90%. So you're at 540% damage at turn 3.
Right. When we look at someone like Crossbones and you metagame him well enough, he's coming off the first turn with doing more than that.
Okay. Do you want another Crossbones?
No, I don't. But I'm just saying they already set a precedent for it. Like, I mean, that's in the game. That's there, and that's not even up to that yet at that point, and that's the third turn. So I don't think that
Crossbones is only. They nerfed that detonate, right?
Currently,
that detonate is 440% damage.
Yeah, and it's going to go up to maybe 480, maybe 510. Right. It depends on which of the information that's out there is correct for the T4 ability mass.
So if she's at 6,
what's the scaling for thing?
90%
per charge.
Okay, so 90% per charge, and then, but you also have to remember that's if everything goes perfectly, so that way she gets hit that many times to get the counter off, right?
I'd guarantee. She's going to. There's that many AoE characters in the game. Right. Or if you're in a raid
that's
mode,
true.
Let's face it, she's going to hit
characters. Yeah.
Plus,
that's why Fury's so good, because all those counters and
if you have another mutant in there, she could gain assist up.
Yep.
Or assist, and she could again get another charge. So by the time by the end of turn 2, she could be at 540% of her damage.
Right. All right. So maybe that isn't the best way to do it, because in some circumstances, you can metagame it hard enough that she will overstack it. But the crux of this argument was the fact that she doesn't stack them fast enough to ever have you be able to use both abilities. So I'm like
in that game mode,
one or the other. So I think that one of the better things to do is even what Assassin said, which is they just need to figure out a way to maybe don't make her use the charges or make her only use a portion of them or something like that. So that way it actually, there's a reason behind using that special over the ultimate.
So here's my take on this, right? Because and I love the fact that we have a character that provides this much controversy, discussion.
Right.
If you look at the amount of energy that both of those abilities take, they're designed to be used between charge fill up, right? So you fill up her charges and you go into a node and you drop the stun slow because you want to get other AoEs off, or you can't kill them all in one blow, so you want to stun slow so your other damage can go in and take that. Then she starts building up charges so that you can do the AoE blow up later. To build up charges to do the stun, to build up charges to do the AoE blow up. They're meant to be used alternating, so you don't fill up the charges to redo the ultimate every time. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah. So let me throw some information that you guys put out there back at you now. Okay. If you made the changes for counter and assist to Storm, okay, she becomes usable, but I still don't think fantastic in Arena and Blitz. Like I don't think even with 6 charges, as you say, Crossbones could fill that role. If you did give her that, you guys said before that you think it's a bit of a joke to be able to have one team and just walk through raids. If you gave Storm that, she would at least power up quick enough there that every second node you could go off, no problems, and just wipe it. So she would become that character that you could just walk through a raid with a powered up Storm like that. So when I first saw her kit, I thought, no, this is rubbish. It's not really that good since they took away the on assist. But now I kind of see it that, maybe you're going to get it off every 3 or 4 nodes, at best right now.
And I think you alternate them. So you do the slow on the second node, and then you do the ultimate on the fourth or fifth node, right?
Well, no, I think that I agree with the other guys that I'd love to see her special not need charges. Maybe you nerf its effectiveness a little bit, but to have it so you're just sitting there just going primary melee.
So aren't there nodes though where you get people like Vision, who starts with defense up, which increases resistance by 50%? I would rather have her special do the if the percentage that is there increases her focus. I have zero problem slowing, because that damage is going to be mitigated by the defense up. I have zero problem slowing and stunning those visions that have the defense up.
But you've wasted that charge. That on the next node after that one, so I would rather use a different team on that node, right? Save that, and then she walks into the next node with all of her charges and then wrecks it. You guys said before that you want to have different teams and flexibility with a deep roster to take on all those different nodes. You don't want them to need the same team. I don't think a team that starts off with a defense up is one that you want Storm to go in and unleash on her first turn. And that's why using her secondary as it is, I don't think that's a good idea either, because realistically that might as well not be there right now in its current format. I can't see too many situations at all where you just wouldn't switch her out with someone else to do a better job without needing to do all of that. You want the AoE chance of blind or stun or slow or whatever. You can throw a Mordo. You could obviously use Ant-Man for his AoE slowdown. There's so many different things. But I think they need to change her secondary, maybe nerf it a little bit, because it's not ideal.
Oh wow! So I don't know if you guys are following chat, but Assassin is kind of going off on some maths with us. Her base damage is roughly 7,500 compared to Crossbones is at 5,900.
Yeah,
she's even worse. She's even worse.
That was definitely much higher than I thought. But at the same time, she also has a higher energy requirement for it.
Yeah,
she starts.
I know she starts fully loaded. Yeah.
But so giving her that assist or counter. If you gave her the assist or counter to gain charges, that would be insane. It would make her viable in every game mode, because you could definitely take her into arena at that point.
Right.
But I think that would make her way too overpowered, and you're right that she would be able to walk through if that were the case. So I'm actually happy where it's at. You're right. I can see an argument being made for the special to be changed.
Yeah, that was the crux of the issue for me.
But I try not to let that, but I feel like the rest of her kit kind of doesn't maybe not make up for it, but kind of levels it out a bit.
Well, look, let me play one last thing for my argument on that, is that if you took that turn to use her special, that's one less turn that you're building charge, right?
Yes.
Because her charge build goes off her thing. So for me, it's just not worth it. That ability needs to change.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's my biggest issue with her. But I don't think we're going to.
I've not had a problem with it, but
on this one.
Yeah. So I think that like I said, I see your guys' point. I don't I don't disagree with you, but I don't also quite agree. So because I've not had a problem, right?
Right.
Sure.
And I have found uses for that special. Because and maybe it's just because I'm trying out new things and I see different utilities as I'm trying it out, and I go, oh, that could work. So, and maybe I'm not seeing the full picture. I do that. I get target locked and I don't see the whole thing. So, Anyway, let's talk about the next thing on the list, the raid key cap. So they. Let me get back to it real quick. Sorry, I was on something else. So this week we implemented a cap to how many raid keys an alliance can carry at once as one of the steps we're taking to curb. Now, the thing one of the steps we're taking, I like that, to curb raid leaderboard exploitation. The cap will be set at 30,000 raid keys per alliance. If your alliance is already over 30,000, you don't lose it, but you can't gain anything until you're below the 30,000.
Right.
Is that enough?
I think that it's fine. We're constantly running like that as of now, basically.
Let me rephrase myself. How much further do they need to go? Is doing this enough?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about is that amount of raid keys enough? Yeah, I think they need to. I don't know. Like I mentioned earlier, I think that they need to come down a little harder on the people that did it. That's for sure, because I don't think it sets the precedent that they need to set with that, with obvious exploits in the game to that degree.
Yeah. Sorry, the chat's.
Yeah, this is my first time having to watch the chat and do this at the same time. So
right. So now you understand why sometimes I get a little distracted. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I don't think that it's gone quite far enough. I hope there's more coming, because as we talked about pre-show when discussing this, it still allows alliances to preload and run these sock puppet accounts and basically go in fully charged at 30K and be able to run 2 or 3 raids, per day, while their other guild is charging up. And then in that, they'll switch over to that, right? In the next season. And they're going in fully loaded and they can run 2 or 3 days. So I think that there's more that needs to be done. I think this start, and it's something, but it would be nice to see them do a bit more.
Right. I know. I totally agree with you, especially considering how many people missed out on or potentially missed out on the rewards because of these things. So I just think it's not fair to the player base that's playing the game correctly and fairly. So
yeah, I agree with you. So Chewy, what do you think? Raid key cap.
Yeah, I won't go too long because I've spoken to a lot of people on a lot of different formats this week about this. I don't think they went far enough with punishing the alliances that have been part of this. I think they should have been rollbacks. I think they should have gone back. And I know this is incredibly hard, but actually done the maths on, okay, who actually lost out? Because whoever was second, behind a first team that did this, they've lost a lot of T4 ability mats. A guy who just finished out of the top 1% to 2%. They lost a lot of ability mats. Now, we know that they're probably not going to do that because of the player incident that happened with someone who was claiming that they were an employee. We won't go into that again, but we know they didn't go back and roll back rewards for all the advantages that guy had been given. They're not going to do that here, especially because that wasn't something created by them. I know that it probably sounds harsh saying that all these alliances should have every single person with those reward strips, even though not everyone cheated. But the more I'm hearing this week in other people's Discord channels, they all knew it. Like, they all knew that people were credit card coring. They all knew that people were Game Guardian. They all knew that people had been doing the ticket stacking, especially the ticket stacking, because it needs a concerted effort.
Right.
And look, I mean, having the 30,000 cap, you have to have it high enough, I guess, that if someone misses a raid day, that you can catch up the next day. So that number makes sense, because obviously 14,400 is one raid. The reason that it can't really be any less is for that. But there's still going to be enough that they could run through extra tickets, even with a 30K cap, that we still need to make it, I think, greater of a penalty. And I think the easiest way to do it is that if a person leaves an alliance and joins back the same alliance more than once per raid season, that they get no rewards. I think that would be one way to actually stop this from happening. So at the moment, you have to be in an alliance for 7 days to get rewards. Am I right on that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So I think if they made it that if you left a guild and then came back and then left again and then came back, I think there should be an internal metric that's easily measurable and calculatable to be able to say, look, no, you don't get rewards, because obviously we think that you are glitching this system. I think that makes much more sense to me than having it that, because all they're going to do is stack it for the first week. cycle in, cycle out, cycle in, cycle out, and then keep their main guys they want rewards for the second week. This limits how much they can do it, but it doesn't remove it completely. So then to the original question you asked, is this enough? Not even close.
Yeah, I agree. But I think it's a good start, and it shows that they're aware of the issue.
Of course. Absolutely. It's not an easy fix. Yeah.
No, it's not. I really think the best solution is you just reset everybody's hero at the start of every raid season.
Oh, amen. I've been saying that for months. Yeah.
And for me, you have to build up to do the first raid.
Yep.
For me, I still don't think it's. I would have just went, and maybe this is too harsh. I don't know, but I'm leaning more towards just like a straight ban. They knew what they were doing.
Yep.
And I think that puts the fear of God in everyone else that might think about doing it. So that for me was the ultimate correct thing for them to do, because they knew that they were basically cheating, and we need to set a precedent here that they can't do this, and no one else will do it.
I want to mention like Flip Van in chat. I'm going to read this directly, and this is my problem with this. My last alliance collapsed hours before raid rewards were cut off, so no orange mats for me for a month. The alliance leader and captains were given invites to HFC Rio, so they bailed. Seems like HFC knew bans were coming. Raid seasons are so broken.
Oh, I can't agree with you more on that one.
100%. I hate raid seasons. I think they're absolutely horrible. They invite cheating, and it's just a way for the rich to get richer. So
the system that they have set up for it is done incorrectly. Like, I mean, there's ways to do it that are better that they should have done. Like this. This seems thrown together basically.
Galaxy of Heroes tried a tournament system and it broke and was horrible, and they trashed it after like a month or two. I don't know if you were around for that one, Chewy. Tournaments were horrible.
Pretty broken, yeah.
And so I wouldn't be upset if raid seasons went away. Look, if you want to have a raid leaderboard, that's great, but you shouldn't get anything extra for it. Because those guys,
I think a little bit, but not as broken as it is. I mean, I tell you what format I would love to see. If you guys have got the game open in front of you right now, I think the best reward tier structure they have in this game right now, and not enough people are giving them credit for this, is the current Thanos reward structure. If you go to Thanos Raid 3, no, not just that, but if you have a look at how tight the gap is between rank 1 and 2 and rank 13 and 24, that's what I want to see. All right, you've got for number 1, they're getting 3,810 Thanos orb shards and 4K orange orb. For last place, it's 3,580 Thanos, so it's only 300 less. And then for the orange orbs, it's 3,400, so only 600 less. So there are rewards for working together, but it is not broken enough that whoever is number 1, I guess it encourages that screw my fellow raid member mentality. It starts to push that away. I think that is great. If they had that percentage tier difference in the raid season leaderboards, we would not be having this conversation or this level of cheating, because the risk and the rewards are too far apart to make it worth trying. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's another reason. So like I referenced the arena earlier, and you know, like it's a flat amount increase each time. It's not this exponential stuff that just creates the biggest problem that we've seen so far. So yeah, I mean, anything to fix that, either a regressive reward system or just a flat increase for each level. So I don't know why they're doing this, because it seems like it's a terrible plan. But yeah, they need to try to fix this a little bit as far as rewards are concerned, and that goes for every single reward system that they have, except for the raid systems are pretty good on it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So, all right. So next we've got the Defenders update, and this is the one I've been waiting for now. All right,
I bet.
We have teased an update for the Defenders team coming for a few weeks now. Be on the lookout next week for a blog that covers the changes coming to Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Daredevil, and Jessica Jones, as well as updates to another city hero, the Punisher, who sadly is not going to get a Defenders tag, but we can discuss that in depth later. So, all I can say is about They've been teasing this long enough. I thought it was going to drop this week. I expected it this week. I'm a little sad that it didn't drop this week. So it's going to be, and Panub, you're right. Luke Cage really does need a nerf. I'm glad people don't appreciate him enough because they don't get to bask in the glory that is Luke Cage. So, I say that all facetiousness. I know he's not the best tank in the game. Some people apparently don't realize that. Yeah. I don't think he's as bad as people think he is because the dude's got 2 defense up, 2 taunts, and he regions and gives ability energy. Show me another tank that does that.
Yeah. For all the shit talking, he is a decent tank.
Yeah. And that tank that you're asking for is Thanos.
He does not regen. Well, okay, yeah, he does. He doesn't have the up regen. So, but
he gets
Thanos,
it on an
Thanos is a raid only character.
More.
Well, Thanos is a raid only character. Okay, so
you're talking about as far as farmability.
Yeah. So getting Thanos, getting Luke Cage versus getting Thanos, it's a night and day difference, right?
Yeah.
So, no, you shouldn't feel cheated, Flipvan. So Flipvan says he's been dumping everything Cage because of my recommendation. So first of all I said was he's awesome. I never said he's the best tank. I said that I agreed that he's like 5%, but maybe 5% worse than the best tanks out there. So, anyway, I had to keep my streak going. That's that is now officially every episode of the Strike Force Damage Control podcast.
That's true.
Where Dorian has talked about Luke Cage and not just mentioned his name. So
yeah, this is the bookend.
It is the bookend. It is absolutely the bookend. So I'm excited to see the update. Jessica probably doesn't need a whole lot. Luke needs something. I agree. He needs something. Yeah. What that is, I think that Chewy, I actually heard you talking about this elsewhere. That like the auto taunt would be something that would be fantastic for him.
Absolutely.
Iron Fist, Pillow Fist definitely needs a whole bunch. I'm sorry if they don't do the AoE team up with him and Luke, I will be disappointed, and I will be contacting Fox next. And they are not getting a Christmas card; they are getting a lump of coal. Daredevil, I actually like Daredevil's kit except for his special. Yeah. I think it's just dumb. It doesn't do enough, to be honest with you. I throw a baton and then I get counter. Woohoo!
Yeah, it's silly.
Yeah, it needs to hit more people and it needs to hit harder. Like that should be an AoE.
Yeah, it should be an AoE or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then seeing an update to the Punisher will be interesting. I mean, he's already early game. He's a great character to have. And so it'll be interesting to see what they wind up doing with his kit. In fact, I used to play the game on like Speed 1 or Speed 2 just for him because I loved when he killed somebody, he'd walk up to him, he'd throw the mine behind him, he'd knock him into it, and they'd go off the.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love the animations in this game. They are so amazing. If you play the game only on, you're doing yourself a disservice. Spend some time in 1 or 2x, not every fight. And just do it every once in a while because some of the animations, like Captain America giving the salute, beautiful.
Yeah, I agree.
The love put into this game is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what do you guys think about the Defenders update?
Well, I'm not going to go into too much of specifics just because we could be here all night for that. But I think the one that needs the most work is definitely Iron Fist. And I think that the biggest problem with Daredevil, I actually really like Daredevil in the way he is, except for that special. It doesn't do anything, just as, just echoing what everyone has said. And I do think with Punisher, the only thing that I really like about his kit now, or two things really, he's already very synergistic with them because of his passive. That passive is great. But it sounds like they're going to make it a little more intricate as opposed to, or at least I hope. I like passives in kind of team up or team up adjacent groups because I think it adds like a nice little flavor effect if it's done correctly. And it can be something a little more clever than flat percentage increase to whatever. But I don't mind that either. Don't get me wrong. I just think that it could be a little more unique. But yeah, his ult for Punisher, pretty much the ult and that passive are the only thing that really does anything for me. But yeah, I think that it's definitely necessary, and I think it's going to be really fun to see what they do with it. So,
yeah, absolutely. It's definitely going to be interesting because I think, to me, all their balance updates have been pretty well done. Loki went too far, and they corrected it. But I think otherwise, all the balance up, I can't think of anybody that they've balanced updated since launch that has been problematic.
Yeah,
because we don't talk about talk about Pillow Fist or Ronin.
Yeah, everyone that they've updated is in a really good position after the update. It seems like, at least to my memory. So that's why I'm not upset about those mega orbs. So
yeah, absolutely. So all right, and then finally we have the Block Party Flash event. So lastly, we have a new Flash event going live next month that will require a team of city heroes to complete. City heroes include characters like Luke Cage, Daredevil, Spider-Man, and the recently released Ms. Marvel. Similar to the Mercenary Payday event, this event is recurring and will reward ability mats as a reward, including orange ability mats at the highest tier. So that was supposed to be this month. Little sad it didn't happen. But the fact that it's still coming, I'm okay with.
I'm glad.
What do you guys think of ability mats? I mean, if I do tier 1 and tier 2 and I'm only getting blue and green ability mats, I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah, I think you will. I think you're going to get some purples pretty early, though. I think that they're becoming pretty accessible, and that they need to gear up to that power creep that's definitely hitting the game right now. But yeah, I mean, it's not an event I'm going to be able to go in too hard this first time around, because most of my city teams, I've been waiting for them to get a bit of a bump. I haven't really gone in super hard on hand yet. But yeah, I'm going to look at these events pretty closely, and I'm either going to take up my Mercs, City Heroes, or the hand team. I'm not too sure which one yet, as a way of going into that. But yeah, I don't know about the ability map rewards. I think most of it's going to be disappointing until about 5-star. And then I think, as per we've talked about a little bit already, I think it's going to scale up pretty exponentially after that.
Yeah, that seems to be their MO recently. That 1 through 4 is just kind of the tease of, hey, aren't you disappointed that you didn't go harder after these guys? And then you get to 5, 6, and 7 where it's kind of like, man, this isn't too bad. Not too bad.
Yeah, for me, I in a perfect world, they would give a little bit of everything on each node, and then the amount of it would just increase. But I know that they're not going to do that. So it is probably just going to be greens and greens and blues for a little bit, and then hopefully it'll ramp up pretty quickly on the purples. And then I think the final one is just going to be oranges. But yeah, I'm not too confident about the amount being exciting, because they just, for event rewards, especially the team ups, they're pretty terrible. And even for hand event, I don't know if I'm alone on this or not, but I have a very high hand team, and I don't know, even for the ABCs that I get, once you complete it the first time, it's pretty underwhelming, just because it's like, okay, now after all of this, I can get maybe half of an item, a gear piece, or maybe if I'm really lucky, a gear piece.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that they need to up the rewards for those in general. The only thing that makes me think this time might be a little different is because it is after they upped the rewards for Thanos, or changed around the rewards for Thanos to be more pleasant for all of us. So that's the only thing that makes me think maybe there's some hope. But for the most part, I think that it's going to be pretty underwhelming as far as rewards are concerned. It's unfortunate reality, but I think it will be the reality.
Agreed.
Yeah, I have to agree there.
It sounds like I put such a damper on that.
No, not really. Yeah, I mean, it's just the way the reward structure has gone through the past, and I apologize. I just spent 150 cores because it's refresh time, so I'm sitting at 1600 right now.
Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
So let's see. So I think that really covers all the of the past week. So we're going to move into our grab bag now, and this is an opportunity for our listeners to send us questions, and you can do that on our Discord by going to the grab bag channel and just asking questions. Obviously, we do answer questions live during the show, so we try to do that as well. But if you have more in-depth or detailed questions that you think of or would like to share with us, feel free to come to our Discord. You can still get to the Discord through discord.me/SFDC podcast. That will get you to the Discord that we're going to be using. That link will change when we determine a name and what we're going to do going forward. But for now, you can go to discord.me/SFDC podcast. And you can also go to discord.me/PowerCore podcast. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you can get to the PowerCore Discord as well. But again, that one will, hopefully be transitioned over before too long.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to start the process pretty much tomorrow on bringing everyone over. So yeah, hopefully that will be. So I encourage you to go to the SFDC discord.me instead of mine, just because we're going to be moving everyone over anyways. So
yeah, and guys that are already in the SFDC podcast, I expect you to clean up your rooms first, because we're having guests coming over. They're moving in, and I want you all to treat them nice. Don't make Dad get off his belt. That's all I'm going to say.
Most of them, I think it's going to be a very short walk, because I think they're friends of both. So
yeah, you're just picking up your boxes from one room, moving them to another.
Exactly.
You're going from the shed to the outhouse. All right. So let's see. This week we've got 3 questions. We've got 1 from Urbane Raven and 2 from Assassin Avenue. Guys, I really hope the questions pick up. I'd like to see more community interaction from you guys. So
We're
Urbane asks, I'm a dad. Disappointment in my voice comes naturally. I have teenage kids, so
yeah. You should be well practiced at that. You
have
to
well practice on the disappointment.
Yeah, you have to make them feel bad about it.
The problem is they've learned how to make me feel disappointed for doing it. So it's a bad cycle. So Urbane asks, what two characters would you most like to see in the Arena Blitz store? So Chewy, come to you first. What 2 characters would you like to see there?
Well, do I go facetious and say Widow and Loki? Or do I go real here?
Let's go real.
Yeah, I would say that time-wise at the moment, I think I'd love to see Nobu finally come to the game. I am quite serious about Widow. I think she's been around long enough. I think there's so many different counters out there now that you could safely put her in the game. But I'd have to say Rocket, and I would say, what we say, Arena Store. Who else is it? Who hasn't come yet to the game? I'm just going to say Rocket for now. I'm just going to give you 1. I can't. Okay. I'll have a think about the second one.
Okay. Hebrew.
For me, honestly, it would be, well, this is for the stores. Okay. I do want Black Widow in, but I want her on a node. And I want her on a relatively high node. That might be mean to say, just because it's keeping some people away from her. But
right.
I think that she's a strong enough character that I don't think she should be so easily accessible from one of the stores. Nobu, I would love to see in there. Cable, I know he's already on a node, but I wish he was in the store. I'm trying to think of anyone else. Wasp, I wish he was in the store, just because then I'd have the perfect combo of bringing them up together as Ant-Man and Wasp. That would be great.
Right, that would be cool.
But yeah, those are probably my picks.
So I'm actually going to go away from the Black Widow, because I think Black Widow will come to a node, and I think we'll see her in level 70. Mm-hmm. Because I think that she will drop on the higher Nexus nodes.
Yeah, I certainly hope so.
And we may even see Nobu up there as well. We'll see what happens there. For me, wow, what 2 characters would I like to see? So I agree with you on Wasp. I think Wasp in Arena and then Ant-Man and Blitz are a great 1-2 punch.
Yeah, it's poetic if they're both in there.
Yes. Boy, I really don't know. I almost feel like I want to see Miss Marvel go to one of the two stores, and let me tell you why. Because I want to force people to choose what to do. Yeah. I don't want there to be easy choice farms out of either one of those two stores. I want you to have to sacrifice something.
Yeah, right? No, I agree. That's a very acceptable answer, because I agree with that. Actually, I don't want there to be a clear cut prioritize this, then this, then this.
Right. Like right now in Blitz, it's pretty easy to say, oh, hey, you prioritize these two characters, then follow this with this third one. So, you prioritize Crossbones and Spidey, then you prioritize Gamora, and then you just kind of go Ant-Man, Boomer, depending on what you want to do with the Star-Lord. So, I mean, it's like, and the same thing with the arena, that it's very easy to prioritize what characters to do when.
Right.
All right. So, Avenue Assassin asks thoughts on the ultra rare 180 shard Loki drop. Chewy,
I feel pretty good about it. Look, I liked it in essence anyway before I got lucky today. Just because it's kind of got that element of like, being a trickster, and you either don't get him or you get him. It's kind of thematically, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, obviously, the odds of getting it are probably low. Although I'm the third person today that I know of that actually has Loki right now, so I'm not sure whether the drop rates are actually that low. Considering.
Well, so here's what I want to know: the other two people that got it, how many pulls did it take? You did it in 2.
I did in 2. Yeah. I can probably find out. I'll do that while you guys answer. Actually.
Yeah. So, because I'm curious to see what they did. So, Hebrew, how about you? What do you think about the 180 shard drop?
For me, I actually like it. I'm a bit of a gambler anyways. I think I'm in the minority on this, but I, for instance, like the offers where I get the orbs instead of the fragments rather, instead of the just a flat amount of shards, because it's usually like, if you compare the two, on the lowest end for the shards that you would get if you pulled with fragments, it's going to be probably a little lower if you got the worst possible luck each time than the flat amount of shards that you would have got for that same amount of money. But there's the potential for much higher. So right. I'm a gambler in that sense. I like those deals better, and I'm much more likely to go for those offers whenever I actually start purchasing in this game again. So Gambit, I'm waiting for you, buddy. But yeah, so I'm a fan of it, and I just really, my luck is sometimes really bad. So I say that after I already mentioned the Black Widow and Nobu drops earlier, but
yeah,
it really can be quite shit sometimes. So I'm hoping that I get it. If not, I'm okay with it. I think it's just a fun thing to add to the game for premiums, just to add a little more excitement to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Gambit's coming as a one-off drop only in Mega Orbs next. So you either never get him or you get him at 7-star unlock.
I would actually, I would be okay with that because my luck in there seems to be pretty good. So
yeah, okay.
And nice. It would save me a lot of money that I'm planning on throwing down whenever I do something.
So I personally, I like it. Mm-hmm. I do think, like you said, it does have that kind of gambling feel to it. I mean, look, I got the storm shards for the same reason that, like, for $25 I get 8 shards or 8 fragments, right? 8 orbs. Good. It is almost 130. 8 orbs. And so worst case scenario, I was going to get 40 shards, which would have been 5 short of an unlock.
Right.
But I was able to get enough to take like 22 into the next level. So it was like 22 of 80. So, right. I mean, I got 67 total shards out of that. That to me was, there's no way that they're going to give me an offer to buy 67 shards for $25. Not for a raid specific character like that, who I have a feeling is going to be a completely raid beast when it comes down to it. So my problem with it, because you know me, I got to have a problem.
Always.
is I think they did it at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Why is that?
So not only did they do the 180 premium orb drop that you can buy for 450 cores, they also did the double energy that you can buy for cores as well. And from a business standpoint, the metrics aren't, you will never be able to tell me that the cores I buy for $10 went to the Loki or they went to the energy. So what generated the money, right? Did you see, I think that dropping them both at the same time, I think they should have spaced them out a bit more.
Would they really not be able to tell that? I don't know anything about the programming for that, but
so to be able to do that, just very basically, they would have to tag every core and know that you bought that with X money, and then that specific core went to purchase this specific orb. Now,
I reckon they can.
I think so. Are typically, I don't think they're going to ID individual cores, right? So if I go in and I buy, let's say I buy buy a pack of orbs, and let's say I get 1,000 orbs. All right, sorry, I get 1,000 cores, right? Unless they tag every single individual core,
right,
they are not going to know if that 1,000 that I bought went into my current pool, and how many of those went to Loki and how many went to buying the double energy, right? They'll know I bought the energy, and they'll know I bought the double Loki. But did I buy but did I buy the cores because I was going for Loki or because I was going for energy? That's what you can't tell, right? You can't tell what my intentions were. Now, if we just had the Loki premium and I buy 2,000 cores and I open 4 orbs for 1,800, you know exactly what I was doing.
Right. Yeah, I think that what Assassin is saying is pretty true. I don't think that they care too much, and I think that you can still, it still would be interesting to see, don't get me wrong, but I think that they would still be able to see, I'm not sure if I'm right about this, but if they'd still be able to see the percentage of popularity increase pulling on premiums was compared to the percentage of popularity increase on getting the campaign refreshes are. So you can still see like what worked, which one was more profitable overall, I think.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. People are doing the Loki. People are buying for Loki. Because,
let me tell you when you're going to find out the metric. If I was Foxnext right now, the metric I would be looking at would be in 2 days time. For the premium orb blitz. I have a feeling that you are going to see people actually care about that again for a little while, because now obviously you have a chance of getting such a large pool on
snap.
this.
I didn't even think about that.
See, I think this is what this is about. I reckon someone at Foxnext was like, all right, guys, we need to make blitz orb great again. And then they've gone away and just come back with this. And I think it's a great idea because most people go, I'm taking a day off. It's not that exciting for a lot of people. Whereas now it's like, no, dude, we need to get into this right now. I want my Loki. I'm seeing this Tuberger idiot talking on multiple podcasts. And you got your Loki. Who gives a shit? But then they'll go out and look for their own. So that's where I think they're probably hitting here. I think it's all about
Plus, I think
reinvigorating premium.
Right. Plus, I think it's because I didn't even, I didn't pull for it at all, and I wasn't planning on it. I was planning on pulling it whenever I, got the premium orbs just from, different facets of the game. But I think since it's a persistent thing, it's not like an event, so to speak, that it won't affect it nearly as much as the pulling for campaign. So I think that that's going to dominate right now, and the rest of it's all just, I had premium orbs ready to go, or I have, I guess, a ton of power cores. I might throw a few this way, but that's just my take on it. I'm not sure, but since it's persistent, I don't think it'll affect it too terribly much.
I didn't even think about this.
As Trueberger said, I think premium will be far more competitive this time around for the next couple times.
Absolutely. I didn't even think about that because normally on Sundays, I care so little about the premium orb that I'm using the, I use all my energy on Thursday, right? Twice. So I use I have 500. I burn through that 500. I get my the challenge blitz energy. I burned through that, and I was sitting at T8 Thursday morning.
Right.
And then I used the next couple of days to kind of rebuild that back up to 500. And Sunday, I'd go with 500, and I do the challenge again on the final day to kind of cap things out. But with the fact that there's now that premium blitz orb and premium orb blitz and Loki in premium orbs, I'm gonna have to rethink that strategy because I might go a little bit harder on the premium orb.
Yeah, same.
So
I will say we probably do need to speed this up just a little bit because I think we're going on at 4 hours.
No, we're not quite to 4 yet.
No, I know. Yet. I mean, we're getting up to it. Yeah, we're getting close to it.
The next one is a little facetious, but how excited are you for next week's Luke Cage update? I'm actually excited to see what they do to him. I think that he's gonna become a top tier tank. Hopefully, he gets a little bit more than just city hero synergy for a tank. However, with their trait nodes, I have zero problem with him becoming a better city hero tank. I've actually used him in the spicy or the El Scorcho city hero node, and he actually protected everybody in that like 300k node that they're in. I'm actually pretty excited, guys. Are you meh? Whatever. It's Luke Cage.
I'm excited for it because I want to see what they do with the characters. I have those characters actually pretty high. I think all around. I mean, not crazy high, but all around like 16, 17. And I have them all pretty sharded out, actually. So I think they're all about 5 stars. So I'm excited to see what they do with them and if it's worth continuing on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm in a pretty similar boat that I've got stars waiting there if I want to level them up. I'm more so curious to see the way that if they really do buff the damage output of Daredevil and also Iron Fist, I think that Punisher could make that team huge as a single target gank squad, because I mean, an extra 10% to city allies is great, but the thing that people don't underestimate a lot about Punisher is that is it city allies or is it just him that does an extra 20% to villains?
It's everybody.
No, yeah, it's everybody. It's
everybody.
See, that 20%, I mean, that makes them against things like Ultimus node or the end Thanos node. If that team has a bit more survivability and a heck of a lot of burst, maybe you drop one of those guys and bring in Spidey, and then you run in Punisher on the side of that. A defense down, 20% extra damage versus villains, an extra 10% for all city characters. Then you're just ready to wreck things.
I take that back.
What's that? It's only for him?
It's only for him because if an ability is the ability reads, and I've got mine at like level 2. City allies gain 5% damage to all enemies. Period.
Yeah.
Gain 10% damage versus villains. If there was no period there, I would say it would. But
yeah, I had a feeling it was just for him. I mean, I can see completely how you've read that, because if you read it in one sentence, it looks like it's all for City. So I will double check that, but I'm pretty sure it is just for him. But if they give him a big damage boost, and then you max him, and if he scales really well with his attack, which at the moment I don't think he does, he could become the AoE monster that we need for raids.
Yeah, he really could,
because he hits everyone. I mean, if they change his AoE to be impactful, or even if they double down on the anti-villain thing, like let's say they did, but it does huge damage on his AoE to villain-only characters. Most of those nodes that are just insane to take down in Ultima 6, it is villain characters that imbalance it. So yeah,
right.
Very interesting to see. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, all right. I mean, sorry, I was going to say one more thing.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, even the way his passive is right now, I think it goes up to 15% for all enemies. I mean, against all enemies, right?
For city characters, yeah.
For city characters, yeah. So, I mean, that's still nothing to scoff at. So that's a lot of damage. And he was always obviously meant to be with the team without being with the team, because thematically, I don't think that was proper. But I think, not meant to always be with them, but certainly a very viable addition to them. Like, they were thinking about him and his synergy to that team, I think. So, and that's exactly why I think they're doing this at the same time,
Yep.
because they're trying to make that same exact thing happen. So I'm excited for that. And, my Punisher is a decent level. So if they come out with a killer kit for all of them, I'm going to be really excited.
Yeah.
Plus, this might potentially be the first time that we'll see some synergy with characters that aren't thematically together, or like that are, not in the same tags, but are still kind of thematically adjacent, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting to see what they do with it.
Yeah, and I think they picked Punisher because you needed that fifth for the Defender team.
Yeah.
And as much as great as Night Nurse is, she's not. I don't know. She's you're not going to use her everywhere. You're going to turn raids. She's a raid character.
Yeah,
So,
I wish that she had more specific synergy with the Defenders, though, just because she's another character that's, although not 100% a Defender, she's kind of she should have some bonus with them, I think.
Claire's not Night Nurse. However,
I know. I think that they did confirm that she was actually from the maybe. No, I think that
I have to look that up.
They found Claire Temple, and then they confirmed that Night Nurse is Claire Temple. Because they found that in the data mine, I think, originally.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Sorry, I just happened to jump back over to the Discord for a second and saw why didn't they release a podcast this week? It's still going on.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to move right along here and try to finish this. So we're going to hit the character spotlight. And for this week, I asked my wife, hey, honey, what character should I do? And she was like, Wolverine. I'm like, yeah, okay. So
does your wife has a thing for Hugh Jackman? Is that what this is really about?
Hey, you never know.
Are you trying to make your move, Australian guy?
Yeah, I'm saying who doesn't love Hugh Jackman? And if I was ever going to switch teams, let's face it, Jackman would be all right. All right, there is nothing wrong with Hugh Jackman.
I love how his name is also a description of his person, a huge jacked man. That's what he is.
Okay. So Wolverine's life began in Cold Lake, Alberta, Canada, sometime between 1882 and 1885, a couple of weeks before the 19th of April, as James Logan Howlett. He is the illegitimate son of Elizabeth Howlett and the Howlett's groundskeeper Thomas Logan. As a boy, James was notably frail and prone to bouts of allergic attacks. He was largely neglected by his mother, who had been institutionalized for a time following the death of her first son. James spent most of his early years on the Howlett estate with the two playmates that lived on the estate with him, Dog and Rhodes. Thomas Logan, Wolverine's father, in a drunken stupor and armed with a shotgun, invaded the Howlett estate with his son and attempted to take his former lover Elizabeth with him. Dog is Thomas Logan's son, so Dog is Wolverine's brother. John Sr. attempted to stop him when shot in cold blood. Wolverine entered when this happened, and his mutation finally manifested. Bone claws extended from the back of his hands, and he attacked the intruders with an uncharacteristic ferocity, killing his father Thomas and scarring Thomas's other son Dog's face. Logan fled the estate with his childhood friend Rose, whom Dog accused of killing everybody. His first appearance was in The Incredible Hulk number 180, October 1974. He's as old as I am. His kit, Adamantium Claws, attack primary target for 240% damage, apply bleed on critical hit. His first special, Slice and Dice, attack primary target for 120% piercing, apply bleed on critical hit. Chain 3 to 4 targets for 90% damage, apply bleed on critical. His ult is Primal Berserker, which is always amazing to get off. I love that ability. He attacks the primary target for 610% piercing. Apply bleed on critical hit. If his health is below 50%, he gains offense up for 2 turns, and the attack is avoidable. Healing Factor is his passive, and on his turn, he heals for 20% of his max health, with a 5% chance to revive with 20% of his max health. So I use Wolverine quite a bit. My strategies with him, obviously, one, run him with other mutants. He works great with especially Storm and Cable with their chances to give counters. And then the best mode for him, in my opinion, is raids. He self heals. He hits big. I ran him in the I run him in the Thanos raid, and he actually higher up in the chain has finished nodes on his own by killing the last 2 or 3 enemies just because of his ability to revive, heal, and hit so hard. So, guys, what are your thoughts on Wolverine? Do you have other things for him?
Chewie, I'll let you hit this one first.
Yeah, sure. So look, Wolverine is my favorite Marvel character of all time. I am that guy that has been to multiple Comic-Cons dressed as Wolverine, different versions of Wolverine, like, the 90s comic version or the, jeans and t-shirt version. I've made my own claws. He's by far my favorite Marvel character. In this game, as many video games where they've done Wolverine, he kind of sucks. He's okay. I mean, his sustain is fantastic. He is, what would you say? If he bled more when he jumped from one character to the next, I think he could be amazing. His ult is obviously fantastic, especially when he is at lower health, but he's just missing something. I mean, I'm sure that he does really well in raids for sustain, but I think that if you're up against a very bursty team, that's not going to matter. Revive mechanics, I'm not a huge fan of, purely because they're not reliable, as in you may get it work, you may not. I think we all know that if you're facing the computer, it's 100% revive chance. If it's for us, it's like, -2. It just doesn't seem to work out the way that it should. So I really hope Wolvie gets a rework. I think the fact we get him for free, the fact he's easy to get up to 7 stars, he's going to be an okay investment no matter what. As we get more X-Men synergies, I'm hoping that there are things in there that make him better. But I think he's a very, very underpowered character for what he could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
For me, he is the biggest thing is the revive mechanic, just as you said. I hate revive mechanics in this game. They're terrible. They always work for the enemy, never for me. I think I've had, and I use Wolverine actually a decent bit, and I think I've had him revive on me, like, I can count it on one hand. Like, I think it's legitimately 3 or 4 times. So I hate them, and I wish that they did something more like the longer the game went on, the more of a chance you have at reviving or something like that. So you might not revive the second you die, but, if it goes on 7 more turns or something, then you can come back. I don't know how they work that, but something to make it more meaningful. That's for sure. Because in this game, you can never depend on something that's like 10%. But
yeah. So I agree that a mechanic that basically ties into his longevity would be great, but in a different way. So at the moment, I mean, we've had discussions off air before. I think all of us, if you are on a node of any kind, you leave Wolverine till last. Why?
Yeah.
Because he's the lowest threat. Like if I see a Wolverine resurrect, it's like, do you know what? That's actually kind of great because now I can push my score up on Ultimus. Or I've got another turn. I've got another turn to actually heal with my Night Nurse because he's alive, right? He's not a threat. If I see an Elektra resurrect with full energy, or I see a Nebula resurrect with full energy, with the Elektra, I know she's got a chance to wreck someone, right? Just before the game's over, and then I'm going to have to use a heal. With Nebula, it's like, well, now I'm going to have to take another 3 turns to kill her. Because if she revives with full energy, any of the hand sentry comes out of nowhere, revives, instant AoE stealth, boom. You have to then go through and re-kill everything again. So he's one of those ones that if he revives, you just don't care. I'd love to see them tie into his Berserker Rage mechanic. I would love to see that the longer he is out there, or the more that he gets hit, or the more that people around him get hit, that he has some sort of stacking bonus, whether it's offense, whether he does become more difficult to kill, I don't know what it is, but I'd love to see something more tied into his offense the longer that he is out on the field. That would make his self-healing and revive mechanic feel better. Like you want him to be around for as long as possible. That ties in more raids than any other game modes, but that's where I think it should be.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I also agree with what Assassin said in that his resistance is too low. Yeah, he gets hit by everything. So,
he's
overall,
so slow too.
Yeah, he is. He's not the fastest, that's for sure. But Yeah, so overall, his kit is just kind of, man, I use him as an ult nuke, basically, and just another person to kind of finish someone off if I need him at the end. I think that his special doesn't do enough damage, doesn't apply. If they did something more with the bleed effect, then yeah, it would be much more impactful. His basic is boring. It's basic. His basic is basic. So yeah, I think that there's just more that they could do with him, and I definitely actually really like that berserker mechanic that you were talking about. I think that'd be really cool, and I think that they should do that. So
yeah, that would be really cool. I like running him with Iron Man that gives that crit up chance, just because it helps with the bleeds. But
yeah, it's not bad. It's just for what he is, and especially what he represents in Marvel. I feel like they should have done him more justice.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. But I don't think even the Wolverine game gave him props.
Yeah, I think he's just hard to, like, his kit is particularly hard to tune because a little too much and he's way overpowered, and a little too little and he's kind of where he is now. And I think his but that's another thing, is that, you know, the big thing for him is his ability to self-heal, and they just didn't do enough of it. They tied it into a really shitty mechanic that barely works and is super unreliable, and they should have done way more with it to make it really feel cool. That's the thing, is that with characters, I want to feel the uniqueness of each character. That's why I hate kind of basic general abilities that they throw on people. I want them unique. So that's me, and that's obviously, like, it's much more difficult to do that for every single character that comes out, but that's my perfect world anyways.
All right, so there you have it. Wolverine, our week. Now, do expect these character spotlights to continue. Now, whether or not it's me doing the lore, or if we have the elders doing it, I have yet to meet them and vet them. I'm kidding.
You can give them a little test if you want. That's fine with me.
If I ask them to define Deathlock and nobody comes back immediately, which one, they're out. So just saying. Just
okay. We'll see.
So now we're going to move into our final section of the night, which is the one that everybody hangs around for, and that's who you farming. So Hebrew, who you farming, man?
So I am currently farming still Yondu. I'm really close. I'm about 100 shards away from completing him. I haven't bought any packages for him or anything, so that's why he's still not there yet. Captain, I'm also still farming. I am currently going after Cable a bit too, because he's a guilty pleasure. I just like him. I don't know what it is. I mean, I like his I really like Deadpool, and so I think through that I want to level up Cable as well, just to join him in whatever battle and make him really cool. So I'm doing that, and let me think, who else? Black Panther I'm farming too. I want to bring him up more, because he's obviously super important right now. That's pretty much me. What about you, Chewy?
Yeah, so I'm probably just about ready to start shifting off, putting everything into gear and shifting back into characters now that I've got Fury to T11 in that whole team. So I might go back to my previous farm, which was pretty much daily Night Nurse, because I want to max her. It was Cable, Strange, and also Panther. They're the four that I was mainly working on. I may change that. Maybe I'll go, as much as I don't want to say this, maybe I'll go into Kree. So that I can get a little bit more stars up on Fury when he comes back. So
yeah, one of those. You did it already. Yeah, you did it already. I'd say go for it at that point.
Yeah. So, and plus the rework for Kree, obviously I'm hoping that team's going to be improved with the synergy anyway. So it might not be the world's worst investment just to get those stars up. Because I am worried, to be honest, that most of the time I've just gone to 5 stars. Stop there, move on to the next team, because in this game, stars don't really matter.
Yeah.
Right.
But there's still those 2 times they've mentioned it now in the last couple of blog updates, where it basically says there is a new progression system coming that is built completely on stars. And that worries me so badly. Yeah. So I really want to get a lot of my primary teams up to that. So I'm fine on my main team. They're all 7-star except for Night Nurse and Widow. They're both at 6. Obviously, there's nothing I can do about Widow there, but I want to get Fury stars up. So, sorry, I should have mentioned, I'm always doing the Shield minion farms. So, Operative is at 176. Shield Security is 176 of 300. 129 of 300 for security, so they're coming along nicely. But yeah, Assault and Trooper, I'm way behind. So I'm only at 4-star on both of those guys, just over halfway to 5. So I'll definitely keep plugging away with those guys. And then, maybe Kree. Maybe I'll drop my Cable Strange. I've got most of those guys at 4-5-star anyway. So that's me. What about you, Ryan?
So I'll be honest, I've not been farming characters recently. I got Star-Lord unlocked to 5-star, and I was like, I need gear.
Gear him up.
I have been completely focused on gear. Now I have a feeling that today, as I burn through my 2,000 energy, I'm going to be dropping some of that on different characters. So Strange is going to get some love. Black Panther is going to get some love. Jessica Jones is probably going to get some. I'm probably just going to spread the love around. But my typical farms are going to be like Black Panther and Doctor Strange, because I love both those guys, and I think they have just such great utility. And obviously that hero brawler team is just some awesome sauce. So that is definitely one I'm working towards. I just haven't put much time or effort into Miss Marvel yet.
Okay, how many stars do you have her at?
She is currently, I want to say, at 3.
Okay.
But she's very low gear. I have, hold on a second, let me get into the game. So Miss Marvel,
she's probably that surprised me the most with how much fun I had with her and how useful she was.
She's underrated, man.
Yeah,
I mean, saying that
she is very underrated.
Her Panther and Okoye are going to be maybe not meta defining, but certainly you could run that team in any game mode and be absolutely fine.
Oh yeah. So add Spider-Man to that team. Holy crap.
Yep.
So she is currently tier 7, 3 stars, level 50. But I do have her abilities at 5, 4, 4, 2. So I put some work into her. She's about 8.5k power, almost 9.
Right.
You know, so I mean, she's got some utility. Good. I was looking at my city roster. Black Panther, I haven't put a whole lot into either. Mainly because I've been so focused on other teams right now. Yeah, Black Panther's not even 10k for me. Which is honestly a little criminal.
Yeah.
But I got Doctor Strange up to 20k power at 3 stars. You know,
right.
I mean, I put a lot into him, and Star-Lord's at 15k, and I just unlocked him Monday. So yeah, those are pretty much the farms that I've been working on. I'm trying to decide if I want to go for free or not. I mean, I already had the Oracle at 5 stars, so I had the hard one done. But I don't know. I don't know. I can't bring myself to do it.
I mean, you're going to have to make that call pretty shortly, depending on where you're at, because he's coming back like October 4th or something in that period. Like, it's not that far away. It's kind of like that JTR where they ran 2 really close together, that if you weren't kind of going semi-in on it last time, unless you start pretty soon, you may still miss him. If they did a day like today and then they had a Kree double drop day the next day, so you could hoard energy, I mean, that would be pretty great. But I can't see anything like that happening.
Yeah.
For interesting, how are you boys tracking on now that Thanos and Deadpool have had their rewards tweaked to more like when we first got them the first time? How are you guys tracking raid-wise with your Deadpool and your Thanos? I know that you love Thanos, Dorian.
Oh, yeah. So he's currently 5 stars and is 44 of 200. Wow. If you look at the picture that I posted earlier in the Discord, he is my most powerful character at 28k.
Wow, great.
Deadpool's my 5th most powerful. He's at 6 star at 38 of 300.
Nice.
Yeah, I just need to tier them up. But Thanos gets a power boost because his Titan Eternal is maxed out.
What percentages are you getting them at? Are you getting the raids up?
What do you mean? Like, where am I sitting?
Yeah, like what, for each raid, were you completing for Deadpool? Did you make it to 100% or for the?
No. So for Thanos, we're getting 60. For Deadpool, we were getting 60.
Okay.
So we are not hitting the 100% yet.
What about the Ultimates?
We're just crossing 30. Honestly, I think the reason being is that we've kind of gone into a free for all for those.
Oh yeah.
And we need to focus more. But I'm just a guy in the guild, so.
Right.
Yeah, I'll mention it. His friend of the podcast, Evan. I know you listen. We need a little bit more organization on our raids.
Well, for me,
we hit like the 10 to 26. We hit the 10 to 26% for the season. So I feel like we should be doing better because we're a top 100 guild.
Wow, yeah, and you hit the 10 to 20.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. How if you don't mind me asking, what's the rank of your guild?
I'm actually looking that up right now.
Okay.
On which one are you talking about? Leaderboards, or are you asking about like where they sit in the CP ranks?
Leaderboards for strength and the leaderboards for the season.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there's 125 cores. Power boards. Why am I not seeing this? Power leaderboards, strongest alliance.
That's where you want to be.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're 170 right now. I thought we were much. We used to be much higher. I don't know what happened.
Someone might have dropped or something.
Yeah.
I
thought we were top 100. I'm absolutely wrong.
Look up 6 ahead of where you are right now.
6 ahead
in strongest alliance.
Oh yeah.
We're only just in front of those guys. Yeah.
So
we're at 164.
if you guys are doing the Thanos 100, you should be able to. So.
Yep.
Well, interestingly enough about that, for mine, we were clearing even during the 2-hour one, which Chewy, I know that you and your alliance was doing the same. We were 100%ing the Deadpool. So on this most recent one, we were 100%. Or wait, did we 100% the most recent one? Actually, I don't think
probably
we did
just
100%.
Not the old Scorcher, right?
Yeah, that's right. Definitely for Enfuego, but not the El Scorcho. We didn't 100% it. We 60%ed it. But now for Thanos, we are stuck with basically 1 to sometimes 2 of our teams not finishing on Thanos. Mm-hmm. So we're like just barely there. But for Ultimate 60, we're actually clearing it every time at 60%. Pretty easily. So we're ranked 73 for strongest, but I think our leaderboard, let's see. Our leaderboards are we're 61 right now. We're dead end. So we're doing pretty good, but we can't, for some reason, we can't clear that Thanos, which I know for you is the opposite of your problem, Chewy. So what's your situation?
It's really interesting. So we've got so we're 164th on the power level rankings, but did you just say dead end?
Yeah, we're dead.
At 61. Did you read the name just in front of yours?
Oh, I didn't. Is that
we're
you
at 60.
Right in front of
us? Look, we'll shoot up pretty quickly because we're about to start our next raids and we're all energy capped. We're just waiting on our alliance leader to log on because we had one member leave yesterday unexpectedly. So we put a lock on the raid launch until we replaced him. So because of that, we've dropped behind. So most days we jump, and it is quite huge actually, between 40 and 70. It's amazing how much you jump around during the day in that range. So we do really well considering the CP of our alliance. Definitely. However, the thing is, I've been pushing for a long time saying that T12 makes a much bigger difference with one raid team than people think. So, for example, in Ultima 6, I'm pulling about 4.5 mil every day. So I'm clearing 8 to 9 nodes, sometimes 10 if RNG goes my way, sometimes 6 or 7 if it really doesn't go my way. Whereas I think the closest person that gets to me is usually around 3 if they've had a really good day, or normally around 2.5. So because we've got so many guys that sort of went to T10, a couple of T11 characters, and then they stopped, I think that's what's holding us back the most in Ultima 6. Whereas with Thanos, our guys just, they get together really well. They synergize really well. There's communications happening of, guys, I went on Thanos. He had multiple turns, but I haven't seen an ult yet. Maybe use a Suicide Squad next. You know, we have that kind of communication. That makes a big difference. So
that makes a big difference.
Yeah, definitely.
We've only missed Thanos this raid season anyway, twice. So we've just 100%ed him every other day. So as a result, where are my guys? So Thanos I've got at 5-star as well. So I'm not too far in front of you, Dorian. I'm sitting at 89 of 200. But Deadpool, we have been 100%ing him with the exception of the very first time that he came. Even back then, we were getting 60%. So because I was doing a lot of carries, I placed first a lot. So I'm actually sitting at 193 of 300.
Nice.
Damn.
I'm
I'm 156.
One more Deadpool round, I might be a very good chance of getting him to 7-star, and then I'll really back down so that the other guys can start leveling theirs.
Yeah, that's
very nice.
Idea. Yeah.
So let me ask you guys a real quick question on the power. Where are your where's your collection powers at? Personal. Where are you at on the leaderboards?
Let's go and see.
Oh man, I'll be way down on there. Give us a sec. So leaderboards.
I was actually kind of surprised to see where I was. Yeah, collection power, just ranks.
I am 5,039 for collection power.
I'm at 2291.
Son of a bitch. I mean, I'm at 2373.
Oh wow.
Oh wow. So pretty close to getting there.
What are you guys on strongest?
Whale.
Strongest team?
Yeah, strongest team.
Strongest team? I don't even want to talk about it, man. You don't want to know.
I mean, mine's pretty shitty too.
Yeah, about 1,600.
Oh my god, I'm at 30K.
You're at
see, I went all in on one team to T12 though. I haven't put the extra like 12.5 pieces in there, but yeah, I've got Cap, Yondu, Quake, Widow, and Night Nurse all at T12.
Yeah.
Wait, what ranking are you at again? Sorry.
30.3.
No. Chewy.
About 1,600.
1,600. Damn,
that's really high. That's really high.
I'm at 15K for.
But see, I know I'm not that CP wise overall. I know I'm. Oh, sorry. Did you say CP or STP?
STP.
STP.
Yeah, that's STP. Yeah.
Yeah.
So about 1573, I think it is.
Wow.
Yeah. Damn, dude.
That's amazing.
But see, that is why I'm clearing so far in raids.
Yeah.
Oh no, right. I did the opposite. It's like if I build one super team, until they changed it with the trait specific stuff. Let's face it, that was the choice because I had a dominant blitz team that right now gets me 42k blitz points every time it wins. I've got an arena team. You know, it's not the meta right now, but it carried me through for a long time in the top 100. And and then for raids, like I mean, it was sort of the gift that kept on giving in that sense. Yeah. So I do not regret those decisions at all. But I paid so much attention to beta before global launch day. So I knew that I wanted to farm Shield. I knew that I wanted Quake. I knew that I needed Yondu. I knew that I needed Cap. So all those things. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Excellent. By the way, I'm a little sad right now because Spider-Man is the featured character on my screen, so I can't stare at it for very long.
It's not Luke Cage.
So anyway, that's a little homage there. So, guys, do you have anything else that you want to talk about before we wrap it up?
I think we have many weeks of podcast left to go to add other things, my friend.
I think we are at 4 hours or just under 4 hours, right?
We're just under 4 hours. By the time I close this out, we'll be right at 4 hours. We might have to split this into multiple episodes because people are not going to want to listen to 4 hours.
So long.
Look, once we get the format tied down, I think we'll be fine.
Oh,
but I'd probably say maybe split it in half might be a reasonable idea. And then you might be able to do that, hit the pause mark, and then maybe at the start of the second half as an interlude, we can include the farewell to Irishman as a little add-on.
I'll add that on. But because that was just, it was great. Yeah. You should have seen his reaction to it. It was hilarious.
Oh man. Next time that we're on, I definitely want to dive more deeper into your Morgan Freeman impression. It's not bad at all.
To who's mine?
That was you that recorded it, right?
Oh, I wasn't doing a Morgan Freeman impression.
You're not far off it though. It was very Shawshanky the way that you did it. Absolutely, yeah. When you started talking, I thought I was about to hear. I remember the first time that I met Andy. I thought it was going to go just down. But no, it definitely has like that vibe.
Yeah, I was just trying to do kind of like I don't know. It just sounded right. It wasn't trying to imitate anyone. But
no, as soon as I heard it,
I'll have to look at that now.
That's why I said to you that it was so Shawshanky with the vibe that it was coming across, because it sounded like those bits at the end that Morgan Freeman's doing, sort of talking about Andy and all that sort of gear. So it was really well done. Man. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it at the time, but now I'm going to go re-listen to it and see. That's fun.
I think you're very close to being able to do a Morgan Freeman impression. Just saying.
Well, damn. Yeah, maybe I can make some money out of it.
I honestly almost thought it was more like a Daniel Day-Lewis, Abraham.
Okay.
I could get that.
That to me was more like, it sounded more to me like some Civil War. But
yeah, that's kind of what it was supposed to be, like the vibe it was supposed to give off a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, either way, it's, whatever's clever. It's just the way
we'll take it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good.
So it was awesome. Like I said, if you haven't listened to it, you need to go to listen. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out now. It stuck with us for 4 hours. Congratulations, you have qualified for the Marathon Podcaster Achievement Award. Expect your 8-star juggernaut in the mail any day now. So that is and so that is a complete rip off of anybody that watches Mobile Gamers YouTube's. He
this
does
is not a scam.
Yeah, this is not a scam. And that was not a real offer. If you don't get it, feel free to contact Big Roy Awesome on YouTube and ask him where your 8-star juggernaut is. So
yeah, I look forward to dealing with that later.
Yeah, I was say.
Fuck you guys. He's like a kid. Edit that out, motherfucker. I'm just gonna go on a big curse stream because I don't have to edit this shit. You guys can.
He's about to go home to like an angry dad or something. Yeah, he's in trouble, dude.
Yeah. So you can listen to 4 hours, and the last 10 minutes is just.
Yeah.
Oh man, you know what? It's the last episode. I don't care if I get the explicit tag at this point, but let's not set a precedent going forward. So yeah. Listen, thanks for listening, guys. It's been a real pleasure. Hebrew, would you like to say anything to close out PowerCore?
Yeah, just a little bit of something. First of all, this goes for Irish too, considering he was there for, I guess, almost all of it besides the last season, or the last episode rather. But, we all really, really, really appreciate you guys listening to us and just spending your time taking in what we have to say is humbling. And we just really appreciate all the support. We hope that you continue on and follow us into this new combined series that we're doing for the podcast now, and we're really excited about it. We hope that you guys are too. If there's anything that you really love about ours or about Strike Force Damage Control for that matter, make sure you let us know, because we would love to make sure we incorporate all the things that everyone loves the most about either shows. So that's pretty much it. And I guess with that, farewell to the PowerCore podcast and hello to whatever we decide to name this one is.
TBD.
Yeah.
I kind of want to say the same thing for the Strike Force Damage Control, because I contacted Muggin and let him know what was going on, because I did feel that he had been with me obviously for so long. That this was part of his too, and obviously he's moved on, but it's one of those things that it's always hard to kind of, we're not saying goodbye, we're just saying, hey, come join us over here now. But I just wanted to say that this has been great and wonderful to do. I know that the listenership has dropped off for me the past couple of weeks after Muggin left, so I know where you guys went. Obviously, they weren't here for me. I wasn't a kick in the teeth at all. So, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to this opportunity to start something new with Hebrew and Chewy. If I wasn't comfortable with them and I didn't think that we could do 4-hour-long episodes, and honestly, if I wasn't about to pass out, I could probably do this for another 6 hours. I mean, it honestly has just been an absolute blast, and I'm so looking forward to the times that we're going to have together and the content that we're going to be creating and what we are going to be able to pass along to you guys, because I don't know much about much, but I do know that I love this game and I enjoy talking with you guys. And I'm probably going to be wrong more often than not, but thankfully you got them. So I just want to say, adieu from Strike Force Damage Control. I look forward to seeing you guys on the other side of the door with our TBD episodes, our TBD show. However, until then, you can get a hold of us at sfdcpodcast@gmail.com. If you want any suggestions, you can find us on Twitter at sfdcpodcast. You can join our Patreon at patreon.com/sfdcpodcast if you'd like to support the new show going forward. You can also join our Discord at discord.me/sfdcpodcast. As for the Patreon, we are going to discuss what we're going to be doing with the levels. Current patrons expect there to possibly be some changes, but I don't think there's going to be anything for the worse here. So we're gonna talk and reevaluate what we're doing, but I don't expect anything to go away. So and your current subscriptions are obviously going to qualify you for what you get for the remainder of the month. So don't worry about anything like that. If you do want to support us, like I said, we do start at $2 and go all the way up to $20. And we'll announce what we have going forward. One thing we are going to be offering a gift card for our patrons every month, as long as we maintain a certain patron level, which we currently are at. So we will be doing at least one gift card in October, I believe, Hebrew.
Yep. Yeah, that sounds great.
Until next time, keep fighting, true believers.
See ya.
Today, we celebrate a life. A life taken from Marvel Strike Force all too soon. He was a brother, a combatant, an ally, and a podcaster. He was a man who was not afraid to boldly look corporate greed and tyranny in the eyes and say, "Give me back my power cores." His loss will be felt all across Earth 616 like an angry wind across a calm sea. But do not lament for him, for he did not go gently into that good night. No, he raged. He raged against the lack of communication. He raged against the lack of gold. And he raged against the absurdity of the Kree orbs. My one regret is that he will never get to see the light of dawn shine on those dark, dark days. But I fear not, for his spirit very much remains and lives inside all of us. He is the voice in our heads telling us not to buy that overpriced bundle He is the feeling in our hearts pushing us to clear our lanes. And he is the warmth in our souls telling us to unite against our oppressors and keep them in check, so we may never need him to return to the game. In his last remaining moments with us, I recall finding him on a bench staring out into the distance, his phone clutched in hand and his eyes filled with anger. "What's wrong?" I asked. He looked at me and replied, "Fucking Shield team that's 35K below me just smashed me in the arena. Fucking bullshit cash grab game, I quit." Yes, he was truly the hero we got, but the one we never deserved. His name was the Irishman, and forever it will be.